As night falls in the United States, over in Japan, the land of the rising sun, the day has just begun. And thousands of Japanese race fans have traveled to Twin Ring Motegi to see the stars of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Twin Ring Motegi, where in about an hour, 25 drivers will take the green flag for 200 laps around this 1.5-mile egg-shaped oval. And with just 2 races to go, the points race is the tightest it's been since June, when Will Power had an 11-point lead over Scott Dixon. Well, today he leads series defending champion Dario Franchitti by 17 points. Welcome to IndyCar Central on Versus. Our last race was 2 weeks ago in Kentucky, and since then the IndyCar teams have traveled just under 6,500 miles to Motegi, about 65 miles north of Tokyo. 13 time zones away, we find Jack Arute.
And Bob, as they say over here, konnichiwa. I'll tell you what, one of the things that you forget about is the fact that because we're on the opposite time zones and the opposite end of the equator, it is entering fall where you are. It is entering summer where I am, and I dressed inappropriately. Also, we're expecting a big crowd here today because this is a national holiday in Japan. It's called Ancestors Weekend, where they pay homage to their ancestors. We want to pay homage as well to a race that took place just last week in Kentucky. And as they say, it was a doozy. Take a look.
Labor Day weekend, Kentucky Indy 300. Oh, Mira's in trouble. Simona.
And Briscoe.
Wow, you can see that coming.
Well, he's going to pit again. Why not? Just keep doing it to be sure you're on the latest sequence. Castro Neves lost a lot of track position with his earlier stops.
So, Dan Weldon is the leader. Dario is second, Andretti is third, and on fourth, and Will Power's fifth.
All of the leaders, by my calculations, are 4 laps short to make it to the end of the race.
Wow.
Castro Neves is the one person who could pull this off. The leaders are going 2:16. Castro Neves just did 2:09. And he's going to try to make it.
Carpenter stays out, but Weldon and Franchitti come in. Elio Castroneves is the leader of the race. Patience, experience, and fuel strategy pay off as Elio Castroneves records another victory.
And Elio Castroneves backed that victory up. Fuel conservation as it may, with a run for the Peak Pole Award here. But I want to go back to Kentucky for a moment. How much discipline does it take for a driver when they tell him, back off?
A lot. And I had a lot of experience like that in 2008 in Kentucky, 2008 here in Japan. So it's one of those things you got to trust in your strategies, and Cindric, it's been long enough to know me very well. And great strategy, great quick thinking, because that's sometimes what it takes, and great team job.
Let's talk a little bit about the task at hand. When I passed Roger Penske during qualifying yesterday, and you'd won the pole, he said, okay, well, we got 1 point for our team. Are you aware of the role that you might be able to play in ensuring a championship for your teammate Will Power?
Yeah, we all aware. You know, obviously, we want to make sure that one of the Team Penske cars end up here in a very good spot, and that's our goal. So far, we're on the right spot, 1, 2, and 3, so we have a great chance. But again, in the end of the day, Will needs to finish ahead of Dario, or at least don't let him get too many points ahead of. So right now we're going to work together, and but again, always have our mind and our goal thinking on the victory.
And Bob, take a look. Calm, cool, collected. I guess he's dressed appropriately to go 300 today.
You're leaking a little bit there, Jack. Well, you know, after that race, Elio gave a big hug to the IndyCar Director of Security, Charles Burns. Quite a difference in emotion from Edmonton, remember, when Elio was black flagged.
good deed goes unpunished. I'm doing fine. So why you hanging out? You always call right back. Okay, we're back on track. So give it a week's time. If only a day. Say that you'll be mine. Either way.
So who is Charles Burns? Well, he's the IndyCar and Indianapolis Motor Speedway Director of Security, a 10-year veteran of the Indiana State Police Force, and also a board member of the National Center for Spectator Sports Safety. Now, you might remember at the 2008 Indianapolis 500, we got a glimpse of Charles when he hopped over the pit wall to slow down Danica Patrick, who was unhappy with and on her way to visit with Ryan Briscoe. Well, let's find out more about Charles Burns with Jack Arute. Jack?
Charles, we see you, and I know you have always said the key is not to be seen, but you have been thrust in so many places. Let's talk a little bit about the job that you do. It's not just what we see on the air. We see you coordinating everything, including this trip here.
Right, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes as far as, making sure our participants are safe, making sure the venue's safe for the fans, liaison with the State Department and how we travel international as well as domestic. So a lot of things go on behind the scenes, and work with a great group of folks here in our operations, marketing, and sales department. So it's a good group of folks to work with.
Now, when we were in Edmonton, you said afterwards, you said you'd never gotten so many text messages and so many tweets from so many people that really just were poking fun at you.
I got a wide range of discussions from emails and text messages. It was quite the experience with Elio's situation, but he was just upset at the situation and wanted someone to talk to.
Hey, Bob, I can't stay much longer with Charles because he told me just before we went on the air that I don't have the right credential and I'm in a restricted area.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Thanks, Jack. And thanks to Charles Burns for everything that he does. Well, qualifying took place yesterday afternoon in Japan. We'll have highlights when IndyCar Central on Versus continues.
BeatsToTheParty.com.
Welcome back to IndyCar Central on Versus, preparing for the Indy Japan 300 at Motegi. Well, coming into Motegi, Team Penske dominated the pole position this season, taking 12 of the first 15, and that domination continues. Jan and Robbie have yesterday's highlights.
Right from the get-go in practice, this is only the 6th lap for Takuma Sato. He gets oil on the rear tires and kablamo into the turn 1 wall. Look, there was no warning for him. Gets his hands off the steering wheel, but that's over 200 miles an hour. Substantial damage to that car, but amazingly, Robbie, they repaired that car.
Incredibly so, and they got him back out right there. You can see him pushing, kind of get it out there. He got about 20 minutes of running. Absolutely the most impressive qualifying run I saw. He got crossed up big time in turn 1, caught that car, kept his foot in it, and qualified in the 10th starting position with all the pressure and fans of his hometown. Great job.
Now, prior to that, Dario Franchitti had put down a whopper of a lap at 200.4 miles an hour. He then improved on his second lap. You can see by the tracker, he was on the provisional pole, and at the time was keeping that 1 point that he needed so badly.
And his teammate, Scott Dixon, watch the sparking there at the bottom. He wasn't happy with his qualifying run, and it really looks as he's got too much downforce in that car. That's why it's sparking, and he was very fast in the 3 and 4 section, but his overall time was slow, and he's P11, not real happy with his race car.
Helio Castro Neves on the tracker, you can see P1, but he just got everybody's attention by being 3 miles an hour faster than anyone on the warm-up lap. He answered it on lap number 1. He was faster on lap number 2. It was a crushing performance.
And turns 3 and 4, where Helio made it work, is incredible commitment there, and I think that's just a big testament to the confidence in his crew and his team to get after it like that.
And his teammate did not make it easy. Ryan Briscoe had a good first lap, not quite as good as Helio's, but his second lap was actually the fastest lap that anyone turned. But sorry, folks, it's not single lap qualifying, it's 2 lap qualifying. He slots into second spot. Now, you can even tell by the sun angle here that the very last car to run, You got it. Was Will Power. Look at the tracker. Number 3. He tries to put together a Penske 1, 2, 3, and he delivers the trio for Penske.
Now watch this trio. Watch the jumping action. If we find the three of us jumping up and down like that, I think it's time for us to go our separate ways.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Here's the rest of the starting lineup. Brian Briscoe alongside in row number 1. The 2 top contenders for the championship. In row number 2, Will Power, Dario Franchitti. Row 3 and all Andretti Autosport row with Marco on the inside and Tony Kanaan on the outside. Another Andretti driver. Ryan Hunter-Reay starts 7th alongside E.J. Viso, his best start since mid-Ohio. 5th row, Dan Weldon and Takuma Sato, who overcame that hard crash yesterday.
And Dan Weldon, he loves this racetrack. Outside Indianapolis, he likes this place. He's won here twice. Let's watch for him.
Second time in 3 races, Scott Dixon will start outside the top 10, inside row number 6 alongside Danica Patrick. Bertrand Baguette coming off a top 10 start and finish at Kentucky in row 7 with Vitor Meira in the 8th row, Alex Lloyd and Graham Rahal.
And Graham Rahal certainly was expecting better. He said he would be surprised, shocked actually, if he wasn't on the podium after being last year.
And the rest of the starting lineup, Roger Yasukawa is driving for Conquest Racing this week, and Paul Tracy is back with Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. And Jack Arute is standing by with Ryan Briscoe.
And Bob, you were talking about it being a Penske sweep, and Ryan, you did your part for that sweep of the front row. But I want to talk to you. I talked to Elio just a couple of minutes ago about the dynamic of having a teammate that's running for a championship. What role do you play, and what role does it play in the way you race?
Well, you know, I think the best thing we can do as a team is to try to go out there and win the thing, whether it's myself, Elio, or Will. You know, it's important that we try to win. That keeps Dario out of victory lane, and that's where, you know, the biggest points difference is. When somebody wins, that can make the biggest difference in the championship. So, yeah, we're going to race hard today. We want to go out there, run hard. We're starting well. We got the first 3 spots, and obviously Will there in 3rd, and it's his first time racing here in Motegi, so it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, but he's done a great job so far. Topped the first practice session yesterday and then qualified 3rd, so I think he's learned the track, and hopefully all 3 of us can have a strong race here and finish somewhat how we're starting. Maybe we'll just swap that around a bit.
During the drivers' meeting, and certainly people that have been here know this, that this is more like a paper clip. It isn't like Kentucky. It isn't like Chicago. Slower cars can't hide. Going down into turn number 3, you guys have got your hands full.
Yeah, it's a tricky circuit because we run down the front straight and then through 1 and 2, and you can get big slipstreams. Get down to turn 3, 2 wide, even 3 wide. The track's so wide. But when you get to the corner, there's just one single groove. Makes it very tricky. A lot of hustling for position going into the corner. Makes it difficult, and it's kind of like you got the super speedway down here in 1 and 2, and you got a short oval corner up in 3 and 4. Keeps you thinking. You got to drive the thing. But I think it makes it a unique and exciting race.
Hey, Bob, a problem is his 2 teammates are here rating his performance, and Elio just called them timeout, and if they don't mind, I finally found a way
Hey, Jack.
to maybe, boy, does that feel good.
Yeah, you have all the hard work, and the other 2 pit reporters you may have noticed by now are not in Japan, but they are taking part in our telecast right now and throughout the race. You can chat live with them at Versus.com. Lindy Thaxton and Robbie Floyd will be taking some of your questions as well and answering them on the air. One of the top topics since Kentucky was release of the 2011 IndyCar schedule. Jan and Robbie will put their spin on the topic when we come back with more IndyCar Central on Versus. Welcome back to IndyCar Central on Versus. We're less than 40 minutes from the green flag at Motegi. The 2011 schedule has been released. The season begins March 27th in St. Pete. There will be 4 races prior to the Indianapolis 500, all on road or street circuits. After the greatest spectacle in racing, the month of June has twin races at Texas, a return to the Milwaukee Mile, and then the Iowa Oval. The next 3 events are on street and road courses. For the first time since 1998, the series will return to New Hampshire. Infineon Raceway follows before the inaugural race in the streets of Baltimore. The Motegi race will be Derby mid-September, Kentucky on Sunday afternoon, October 2nd, and the yet-to-be-named finale will be in October. Jan Beekes and Robbie Buell have joined me. And Robbie, I don't know of anyone that isn't thrilled about returning to the famous Milwaukee Mile.
And the historic Milwaukee Mile. And the one thing the drivers love about it, it is absolutely a driver's track. It's fast, it's flat, and there's a ton of great action. Look at this. We're just going back 1 year to 2009. Scott Dixon taking victory there, and you just see how wide that racetrack is. Produces some fantastic racing. And really, what a fantastic schedule. Randy Bernard, I really have to commend what he's done, because he said, hey, we need to reach out to racetracks and promoters that want to grow the IZOD IndyCar Series.
And of course, on that schedule, one brand new event, and that's in downtown Baltimore. When you take a look at the layout, first of all, a fantastic location right in downtown, but check out the way it's laid out. Long straightaways and tight corners, and that's always been a recipe for some great racing. Now, when you talk about long straightaways and tight corners, that also makes me think of New Hampshire, because New Hampshire is kind of a unique oval with those long straightaways, tight corners, but it also reminds me of a guy who won his very first IndyCar race, 1997. Of course, who is that? That's one Robbie Buell. Look for him in the green Menards machine, in traffic, fighting his way through to the checkered flag, and there it is, the first IndyCar victory for Robbie Buell. He fought his way with pressure from behind, and what a great time for any driver, Robbie, when you go to victory lane for the first time. But tell me the story. On your helmet there, it says Batman.
Yeah, you saw that on my visor. It said Batman, and what happened there, that was my first race back after having a concussion, and during that period, there was a commercial running on TV, and I think a football player got knocked out, and they waved some type of candy bar in his nose, I think a Snickers, and he got up and he said, I'm Batman. And John O'Gara, my crew chief, that stuck, and they made up that little visor strip, and I was called Batman.
Great story, Robbie. Well, Friday in Japan was Friendship Day, and thousands of fans turned out to see the stars of the IZOD IndyCar Series. Among the fan favorites, of course, Takuma Sato, racing for the first time in Japan since 2007. The Tokyo native was a successful Formula One driver before making the transition to the IZOD IndyCar Series. And Hideki Muto received a lot of attention as well. This is Hideki's third IndyCar race at Motegi and first for Newman Haas. He finished 11th and 14th here for Andretti Motorsports earlier in his career. And with more, here's Jack.
You can talk about massive crowds, but I have never witnessed the massive crowds that have followed every move of these two drivers, Takuma Sato and Hideki Muto, who are representing the home country of Japan. Takuma, have you had any opportunity at all since you hit the ground here to yourself?
It's quite been hectic, but it's in a nice way. You know, I got a huge support here, and was expected, but this is phenomenal, fantastic.
What sort of pressure does it put on you as a driver?
Not so much pressure, to be honest. It's more to be really appreciate to be in the fans. Like it's this much of the support is every driver was always dream, and really appreciate that.
Now, in the case of Hideki Muto, you've seen this movie in black and white because you were here last year like this. Yes. But probably more important than anything, your dad is going to finally get an opportunity to see you race. Did he have any advice to you this morning?
Not really. I'm not see him yet. I'm going to, but I think he's at grandstand, and this is the first time he saw IndyCar ever. So it's very good, and I'm very excited to see him at grandstand.
Now, it's kind of interesting because your dad not only has never seen you race because he still has to maintain the business down in the Fish District of Tokyo, but I understand he also, when he finally does watch the races, he won't let anybody watch with him. He needs to be alone.
Yes, that's right. I think he just wanted to be quiet and, just hating people, I think. And, this is first time for him. So, he's always cheering for me and, supported me. So it's going to be a good day for him.
I asked Takuma about the pressure. What about the pressure on a youngster like yourself being here with this crowd? I mean, everywhere you go, you're being hounded.
I mean, as Takuma said, I'm same thing, that's more like appreciating. I mean, yes, it's more pressure, but it's in good way too. So that's more power to race here this week, today.
Bob, I've never seen a crowd like this. Just take a look and thank God we got a little security. I'm going to try and work my way back out to the grid.
Yeah, a lot of Japanese race fans are anxious to see this one get underway. As you might expect, it's a massive effort to prepare for the shipment of cars, equipment, crews, and officials from Indianapolis International Airport for the long flight to Narita, which is the major airport serving Tokyo. It is a long flight, as I indicated, 13,000 miles round trip. 2 747s were used. 45 cars shipped on 23 pallets. Over 500 team members, drivers, owners, mechanics, and engineers made the trips. And just for KB Racing Technology, 29,950 pounds of tools and equipment going to Motegi. But the travel has been well worth it for two members of Andretti Autosport, Danica Patrick and Tony Kanaan, two drivers who have won at Motegi. Jack talks to them when we continue with more IndyCar Central on Versus, preparing for the Japan Indy 300.
Here she comes. Does she have enough fuel? She's going to take the high side, and Danica Patrick takes the lead at Motegi. The white flag this time by, and nobody within sight. Look at Mom Bev.
Will Danica Patrick make history at Motegi?
1.5 miles to go for Danica Patrick and the Motorola team. Could history be made at Twin Ring Motegi? And boys, move over. The lady is coming through. Danica Patrick wins at Twin Ring Motegi.
Coming. Finally.
It seems like just yesterday that this driver here hoisted this trophy skyward to score her first victory. Outside of the Borg-Warner trophy, Danica, there's one that's not any taller than this.
Yeah, no, I was most surprised that day when second, third place got their trophies, and, you know, I did the, like, goofy lean against it. Like, I was like, look at what I got compared to what you got. I almost thought it was not fair. Like, how can second place get one that's this big? But good memories for sure. I've always enjoyed coming here. We didn't really have the qualifying run that we wanted. We were running pretty well in practice. We ended the final practice fourth, and just didn't get back to power quick enough on the qualifying laps. The gearing wasn't perfect for me, just missed out. So I'm going to have a good start.
Well, let's talk for a minute, though. The other thing that's interesting is how hot it is. It's been hotter here all the time we've been here than we're used to, and a lot of crews are sitting there saying, look, we're going to have to make a lot of major changes during the course of the race. What does your crew think?
You know, it's interesting. I don't think we're making too many big changes for the race. You know, it's good to know what you have going into it, and so you can be confident in your car when you start the race and go through the first stint. But, when it gets hot, a lot of times you need more front wings, so, that might be something that you see a lot of cars cranking in on the first stop, and, it might influence a little bit of the running coming out of the pits, too, because it takes time to do that. So we'll just have to see. I hope that our car is consistent over a run. I think that's where we'll make up the most spots. It's easiest to pick people off at the end of a run if they're struggling, so I'm hoping to not be struggling at that point.
One of the great traditions here in Japan is when someone comes to meet you or get an autograph, they exchange gifts. What's the best gift you've gotten here?
Yeah, I was just saying the other day that the best gift I got, this time at least, was I got like a Starbucks to-go mug, and it had Japanese, design all around it, and it said Japan 2010. And I thought, what a nice thing to be able to bring home that you'll really use. And we got a Hello Kitty blanket. I'm like thinking, now, is there some little girl that could be suited for this that I could give it to, or do I really like this Hello Kitty blanket? I'm not really sure.
I think we'll have to stay tuned to find out about that. DP, good luck.
Right,
thanks for joining us. We talk about Danica Patrick's picture. Well, you'll see Tony Kanaan's pictures there as well. Andretti Green Racing, or now Andretti Autosport, have had a phenomenal record here at the Motegi, Twin Ring Motegi. And for Tony Kanaan, it's been a wonderful ride throughout his IndyCar career, and we had an opportunity to go behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about the man that's known by two initials, TK.
Hey guys, we're in TK's office today. Let's take a tour. Some of my helmet collections, my good and best friend and forever teammate Dario Franchitti. We have Zanardi, Rubens Barrichello, Gilles de Ferran. Gilles has a huge head. Somehow this helmet wouldn't fit in any other one of them. Today that we have a special guest. That's why his helmet was on top.
Whoever's visiting that day, he moves the helmet to the top and then says, hey, you're my best friend. I always put your helmet on top. So you have to watch the
I didn't say he was my best friend, did I? My good and best friend and forever teammate, Dario Franchitti. Old teammates abusing my office, using my internet, and pretending that he's working. I wonder, what are you doing?
I'm working.
If you want to ask him a question, don't send him an email. He won't reply.
I'm a face-to-face kind of guy.
Elio, I'm going to pick on you today. I pick on everybody. I said, Gilles' helmet didn't fit in the shelf.
But that's true.
It is true.
He has a huge head.
We have this painter do a painting from the front row for the 500. Elio was on the pole and I was second on the painting because Elio gets very emotional all the time and he cries and he thanks his family and his dog and everybody. On the picture, there is a very fast, the three cars all together, and you can see out of Elio's helmet, so you can see some tears coming out.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant. This is my office, the president office. I have my helmet collection, which is something that I take a lot of pride of. As drivers, we exchange helmets. I have Michael Andretti here, Brian Herta, Rubens Barrichello here, Greg Moore, Danica. For sure the boss got the right spot. We don't love each other all the time. So depending on the race, I might move somebody down and put them inside the draw for a couple weeks until we talk and then put it back in, and that's, then we kiss and make up. Nobody's in here yet. My desk is kind of like, we have a little bit of everything here. Pen, setups, pictures of my son. My son, I would say, is probably the most important thing I have in life. He lives in Brazil. I get to see him once a month, which is awesome. I don't spend a lot of time at this desk because my office, it's really the one that has four wheels, the steering wheel and the engine. If I'm not in the office, I'll be either on a bike or on a run or swimming, exercising it somehow. Let's go get some workout done. Well, guys, here we are, getting ready to go to Crandall Park, one of my favorite places to go work out. I'm doing a half Ironman at the end of the year in Miami, and I have to train really hard. Welcome to this horrible place, as you guys can see. That's what I get to see every morning. Well, bike is done, the run is done. Now maybe to cool off, let's do some strokes in the pool. This is it for today. I hope you guys enjoy. I'm tired and I still got a race to do, so enjoy the race, and I'll see you guys next time.
While Tony Kanaan's son may not be with him here in Japan, a little remembrance will be. The hands of little Leo are right on the helmet, and today's a special day, TK, because it's Leo's birthday.
Yeah, it's his birthday, and funny enough, he's 3, and I haven't been able to spend a single birthday with him yet because of my job, but I can't complain. I know I'm going to see him next week. We're going to celebrate a belated birthday, and he's going to be in the Miami race to watch, so I'm excited about that.
Let's talk a little bit about this racetrack. At the drivers' meeting, there was an awful lot of talk about, hey, guys, it's not Kentucky, it's not Chicago. There are some really dicey places on this place.
Yeah, Jack, it's a difficult place to pass. You have 23 cars in half a second. There's not a lot of place to hide, but it's easy to kind of block a little bit, and then that's what the drivers were trying to feel from Brian Barnett, how bad or good they could block and not get a penalty. And, when you run, the last 2 races of the year, some people are fighting for their jobs, some people are fighting for their championships, and some people are fighting to win their first race of the year.
And what are you fighting for?
Win a race. So obviously we get to push to the limit, and championship-wise we have no chance to finish 6th or 5th or 8th. For me, after you win a championship, it doesn't make a difference, so I'm fighting for a win.
TK, best wishes, good luck, and maybe Leo's hands will take you right to victory lane.
They're pushing me. Look at that. Thank you.
There you go. Hey, coming up next, we had a rare opportunity to sit down with 2 people that you could say are the key movers and shakers in the world of IndyCar racing in the IZOD series. We'll get a chance in color to get in depth with both Roger Penske and Chip Ganassi in the same room. That's coming your way next as IndyCar Central continues here on Versus.
spirited rivalry, but yet when one beats the other,
about that? Amazing.
it seems to be more meaningful. Is that a correct observation, Chip?
I don't know if it's more meaningful. It's you know, I think we, you know, I think both of us, you know, we're friends, but we want to kick each other's ass, and we get a lot of pleasure out of doing that.
Get the cameras out for a photo finish. Briscoe got him. Here they come to the line. It's going to be Dixon.
You are the winner of the race.
No way I do it. Dario Franchitti has won for the third time in 2010. Will Power is the winner on the streets of Toronto.
He has dominated the road and street courses in the Eyes on IndyCar series this year.
This series is better because of people like Roger. You know, you have to have somebody to shoot at, and at least I do.
There is no incentive whatsoever.
That's dirty pool, Brian.
Some of the bullets he's been shooting have been hitting the target over on your side.
Tim Cindric is not happy with the Ganassi team.
How much does it sting when Ganassi beats you at your own game?
Well, I think, you know, I've got a lot of respect, you know, for Chip, the team. Obviously, he's got great drivers, and, you know, he's always the one that we have to beat. I think that when you look at the season after season, we've had all great wins. You know, him winning the Indianapolis 500 this year and being able to come back and win the Brickyard and also Daytona, you know, is a real, I think, a crown that he's been able to put on his head. You know, for me, it's about every race, and I would say 9 out of 10 times I get a text from him or vice versa after a race, congratulations, great job. So that's the kind of relationship we have professionally. On the racetrack, I know if I make one mistake and he sees it, he's going to call it.
Rivalry, is it like the Red Sox and the Yankees, or is it a different sort of rivalry between you two?
It's nothing but you know, Roger's team and Chip's team. That's the rivalry, and it's not about Roger or me. It's about our teams, and it's about the people that work for us, and how fortunate we are to be doing what we're doing, and even have a rivalry. It sure is a little special when you beat the captain.
Tell me one thing, Roger, that you don't like about Chip Ganassi.
I don't like
get your chance.
I don't like it when he beats me, that's for sure.
Chip?
I'd rather tell you what I admire, and that is, you know, I can sit there and beat Roger every weekend, and it still won't. But I would trade all those Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays for his Monday through Fridays.
No, listen. Look, we're friends. We're competitors. And I think what we've tried to do together for a long time is try to take the Indy racing sport to another level. You know, from my perspective, we race each other fairly and squarely. It's going to be tight. You know, we've got a couple of races to go, and I think that the best guy's going to win.
His drivers should get in our car, and our drivers should get in his car, and they would pretty much have the same results, I would think.
What about the rest of those guys that are still trying to get to the top? Do you sense a resentment at all?
There's no resentment, Jack, and I can tell you, you know, as of recent, we've been having owners meetings, and I can tell you, Roger and I are in there. We are trying to pull the people on the grid up. I can tell you, we have a budget we work off of, and I know he has a budget he works off of, and it's not a lot. It's not that different, and it's not unreachable for a lot of teams.
It comes down to the continuity of the people, and we don't have a lot of turnover.
A lot of announcements have been made over the course of the season, charting the future. Are you happy with the path that we're headed on, or are there some areas that you think it needs some additional work?
I think it's obvious today when we have 27 cars, you know, at the racetrack on an oval, which we used to be lucky to get 17 or 18. So even in a time when the economy is in troubling times, so I think that's positive.
You know, I think the important thing, Jack, is to understand that we have a good ownership group that comes from a lot of different perspectives in the sport. You know, we have ex-drivers out there. We have people that have been involved in the sport for many years. We have people that come up from the grassroots of the sport. We have people that came in completely from the outside of the sport as owners.
An NFL owner that would best describe Chip Ganassi, which NFL owner would it be and why?
Oh, I'm not a big football. I don't know all the owners. I guess I could say he's George Steinbrenner, maybe, in baseball.
Are you a George Steinbrenner? We'll open it up.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm George Steinbrenner. I certainly don't have his budget to work with. But
you got his passion, I can tell you that.
I certainly have his passion.
And he hung in for a long, long time, and he was with the New York Yankees. You can't be much better than that, can you?
And brought him back.
Much better than that.
Right.
All right, your turn.
To me, they all want to be Roger Penske, okay? And he's the guy they shoot for, believe me, in any league. He's the man that sets the bar. As any ownership in any league. Roger Penske, to me, is the one that sets the bar.
This guy's awful nice to me.
I was going to say, this guy sounds like he's a little undersell. You know,
I just hope at the next.
I'm just telling the truth.
I just hope at the next race he keeps that number 9 and number 10 just behind our cars. No, but a great time to compete. And believe me, when we come to the racetrack, there's other people we got to race, but I can tell you one thing. You know, it's the target cars that we're got our eyeballs on, and we watch every single thing they do because if we might learn something for sure.
Great job, Jack. Moments from now, Team Penske's Will Power and Target Chip Ganassi Racing's Dario Franchitti will continue this season's race for the championship. 2 races to go, separated by 17 points. We'll hear from both of them in a moment. Welcome back to IndyCar Central on Versus. Live shots from Motegi as the drivers prepare for battle. The command to start engines coming up in a moment. Taking a look at the overall point standings. Will Power leads Dario by 17. 2 races to go. Will led by 59 points, but with a win in Chicago and a 5th place at Kentucky, Dario has made up 42 points. And moments ago, Jack caught up with him.
Well, Bob, if you ever saw the movie Groundhog Day, they talk about it as Yogi Berra says, deja vu all over again. For you, Dario Franchitti, that seems to be the case. Chasing for a championship last year, and again, in the underdog role, being behind and chasing Will Power, what does that allow you to do?
Ultimately, the job's the same. You got to go out there. You got to try and win both the last 2 races. You know, Will, I guess, is keeping an eye on what we're doing. We're just going out there to win races to close that points gap, and we're pushing 100%. So you know, our job is pretty clear, I think.
All right, let's talk quickly about your race car here. Maybe qualifying wasn't what you had hoped it would be, but you told me that this is a race car that with the right adjustments, you can really put anywhere.
Yeah, I think so, Jack. You know, actually qualifying, I thought my laps were pretty good, and then I saw what the Penske guys did, and that kind of burst my bubble a little bit. But the Target car is pretty good in race trim. A little bit warmer today, so we will see.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Dario Franchitti does lead the standings for the A.J. Foyt Trophy for the top driver in oval points. That title will be decided today in Motegi. And by the way, just a few minutes ago, congratulations to A.J. Foyt the 4th and his wife Casey. A.J. Foyt the 5th has arrived. 50 points are awarded to the winner of each race, with 2nd place earning 40 and 3rd place earning 35 points. The least points here, or 25th position, is worth 10. The pole winner gets 1 bonus point. The driver who leads the most laps receives 2 bonus points. Will Power has never raced here at Motegi. He was involved in a horrifying crash in Sonoma last year, weeks before the series traveled to Japan, and he's only raced at Homestead once, 2.5 years ago, in the first race after reunification. Moments ago, Jack caught up with the points leader.
Well, Bob, you can talk until you're blue in the face about scenarios, but for you, Will Power, what does it really boil down to in this chase for the championship?
I mean, it just boils down to finishing ahead of Dario. I mean, that's what we haven't done in the last 2 races, but you know, I think that we've come here really well prepared, got 3 cars up the front, and I think it's the day that we're going to execute.
We talk about execution, though. Have you talked to your teammate Ryan Briscoe about what happened to him 1 year ago when he was in precisely the same situation as you are now?
Yeah, I know. I mean, that was an unfortunate thing that happened, and mistakes are easily made. So, you know, I'm just going to go out there and do my job. You know, that's all you can do. I don't think you can sort of plan anything in a race because so many things play out. So just doing your job, hopefully that's enough.
Kind of like football teams say, just be 1-0 every week and it'll come to you.
Last year, Dario trailed points leader Ryan Briscoe by 25, but 2 races to go. He finished second here at Motegi and won the season finale at Homestead to win the 2009 championship. Stand by to see how the battle between Dario and Will unfolds today. Thanks for joining us for IndyCar Central on Versus. When we come back, the command is start engines as the cars will begin to roll away for the Indy Japan 300 here on Versus. 2 drivers, 2 races remain. This week, the road to the championship takes us to a world away. Motegi, Japan. Through 15 races this season, the points lead has changed twice, and only between these 2 drivers. Will Power started this season from the front, and he's dominated the summer stretch of road courses. Heading into the final 4 races, which are all on ovals, his lead was 59 points. But a Franchitti win in Chicago diminished his lead to 23 points. Paired with an 8th place finish in Kentucky, left Will Power only 17 points ahead of defending champion Dario Franchitti. Today, in the land of the rising sun, Will Power must rise to the occasion on this oval opportunity of Motegi. A win here for Power would silence his critics, but a victory for Franchitti could prove costly to this season's rising star. The Izod IndyCar Series has made its annual trek to the land of the rising sun, and today the Indy Japan 300 brings the battle for the season championship one step closer to being settled. It's the 8th appearance of the Izod IndyCar Series here at Twin Ring Motegi. Let's go down for the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines!
Now that was an enthusiastic driver start your engines, wasn't it?
Good. That was a good start. I like that
sure
start.
was. Well, the cars do fire to life here. We got 25 drivers set to go. And here's a look at the starting grid, which contains 5 former winners here. While you take a look at the lineup, we'll give you a few facts. 2 drivers, Danica Patrick and Dan Weldon, won their first series races here. 4 events have been won from the pole position. The most recent was just last year by Scott Dixon. 11 of the 25 drivers in the field have led laps here at Motegi. Dixon has led the most laps. The most lead changes we ever had here was 13 in 98 and in 03, and the most leaders, 7. That occurred 3 times in 98, 02, and 05. And only once has the race winner gone on to win the championship in the same year, and that was Dan Weldon in 2005. So something for both Dario Franchitti and Will Power to keep in mind as the cars begin to pull away now. They will get the green flag the 3rd time by the start-finish line. As we have indicated, this is kind of a odd-shaped racetrack. Turns 1 and 2 are rather wide, but it's a much tighter radius when the cars get to turns 3 and 4. And we have seen drivers, in fact, shift down 2 gears as they enter turn number 3. Onboard cameras will be carried by Hideki Muto, whose father is in the grandstand today and watching his son in an Izod IndyCar Series race for the very first time. There's Hideki as he warms up the Firestone Firehawks, getting ready to go. Danica Patrick is hoping for a repeat from 2 years ago when she captured the hearts of millions of race fans in taking her first victory.
Sounds good. Get a little bit of heat to those tires.
Racing in his home country for the first time since the Formula 1 2007 Japanese Grand Prix. Dan Weldon, the only 2-time winner here. He's never finished worse than 8th. Ryan Hunter-Ray, whose string of 8 straight top 10 finishes was broken 2 weeks ago at Kentucky. And Tony Kanaan, who is the only driver to compete in all of the open-wheel races that have been held here, and he won the event in 2007. Here's the race strategy opinion from Jack Arute.
Fellas, we all know it's going to take about 3 pit stops. You may short fill on one depending on the number of cautions. But I think the determining factor that all these strategists are going to have to deal with is the weather. We've talked about it since we went on the air. This is the hottest ambient temperature that an IndyCar race in the Izod IndyCar Series has ever contested here in Japan. Track temperature-wise, it's also hotter. The record previous to this was set back in 2005 in April. So what does that mean, fellas? Well, Robbie and Jan, you know, you're going to have to twist on the cars, taking a look at putting wing in, taking wing out, and tire pressure choices during the pit stops will help compensate for the ever-escalating temperatures.
And Jack, of course, when you did that interview with Danica Patrick, she really laid out a very good point. You don't really want to change the car, Robbie, prior to the start, but as soon as you get a feel for it, you might want to be looking for adjustments.
Yeah, and she used the word consistency, and I think that's going to be the key. You want to have a consistent car. And remember, you got your onboard tools with the weight jacker and bars.
Former winners here at Twin Ring Motegi, which also includes a road course. Adrian Fernandez won twice. The two-time winner Dan Weldon is in today's field. Michael Andretti, also a former winner here, as is Elio, Kanan, Patrick, and Scott Dixon. Great crowd on hand. We were noticing just while Jack was doing some of his pre-race activity how the crowd filled in very, very nicely. I think this may be the largest crowd ever at this place.
The way they wrap around turns 1 and 2 and go all the way around, I think that's as full as it's ever been.
Holiday weekend certainly has made a big difference. Now the race, of course, being on Sunday in Japan.
Right. Okay, well, the cars begin to line up 2 by 2 now as we get set for the start of the Indy Japan 300. Team Penske sweeping the first 3 qualifying positions. Off of corner number 4 they come. And the Apex Brazil green flag is waving, and Elio gets in front of his teammate as they go to turn number 1.
Rafael Matos, blue and silver, actually got below the line and back up again. What a great start.
Wow. And did you watch the guys, the 1, 2, 3 all slotted in right by start-finish line, and then that game changed.
Dario just got power.
And look at that is Marco in the red and black car on the high side of power.
Man, he is way up high.
Power's dropping back.
And look at Marco.
Remember what his plan, though. Just because he's dropping back now, he's just maybe being a little bit cautious. He's got that championship on his mind.
Weldon also passing by Scott Dixon. We're on board with Danica Patrick. And we have a yellow in turn number 2. And it looks like it's Bertrand Baguette. Boy, we have paid so many compliments to Bertrand because of his adaptation, if you will, to the ovals.
And just what he did last weekend.
Yeah.
You know, as you said, he qualified in the top 10, finished in the top 10. And I was just about to say, this is really a tricky track the first couple laps, because 1 and 2, there's some pretty big bumps there. You got about 3 different grooves you can run. You get up in that high groove where it gets dirtier just because people are checking up. You kind of think, oh, I can get up here. But that section usually gets some folks caught out. So you're building that pressure and temperature in the tires, and that was only our second time by.
Bertrand was coming off his best finish of the year. He came in 10th at Kentucky after his best start of the year. He lined up in the 3rd row.
And Robbie, I know you've lived it. If your car is too low and if you crash across that bump, it is a long day. And of course, we get this post the bump. The bump is about in the middle of the corner. We don't know if he's been chasing it since the bump, but you say when the car's heavy and the pressures are low, it really tags the ground.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying that. I mean, just that you're going to hammer the ground all that much more, just like we saw Dixon do when he had that extra downforce in the car, just put that thing down there. Good to see him moving.
Yeah.
And where we just saw him clip the wall, that's coming off a 2. So it really is, we may say, oh boy, that looks like it was further in the corner, but things happen so fast with doing 200 miles an hour through there. That probably happened close to the middle portion of the corner where that biggest bump is in between 1 and 2, and just kind of slid straight across.
Baguette walks to the ambulance. He looks to be in good shape. He'll be checked over, but it has brought the first caution flag out here at Twin Ring Motegi, as Will Power looking for his championship, and Dario Franchitti hoping to upset Will Power's points lead going into this race.
Japan 300 on Versus is brought to you by Honda, the engine supplier for the IndyCar Series, and by Izod, the official apparel sponsor of the Izod IndyCar Series, available at Macy's, and by Peak Performance Products. When you peak,
van beckons like no van before. The technology-packed, all-new Honda Odyssey.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the Peak backup camera system. It installs in minutes, and anyone can do it. Check the color monitor, and you'll see what you can't see. Stop accidents before they happen. Protect your family with the Peak backup camera system, and be safe out there.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
A year ago, Will Power didn't know if he would ever race again. Power rose to the challenge.
Power continues to dominate.
As a season-long points leader, he had a record 8 poles and 5 wins. Knowing the taste of victory, Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon are thirsty for more. Can Will Power prevail in the race for the championship?
It's the NHL Face-Off 2010 as the puck drops on a new season. Thursday, October 7th, 6:30 Eastern, the Keystone State rivalry renewed as the Flyers clash with the Penguins. Then at 10 Eastern, the defending Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks face off against the Avalanche. Hockey lives on versus. The worst thing about October, the auto racing season ends. The best thing about October is hockey is back on versus. Looking forward to the season. We are under caution here at Twin Ring Motegi because of a crash that involved Bertrand.
Yeah, good job, mate, being steady and careful. No one could run up out of the groove on those opening laps anymore.
And what you're hearing from is Nick Harvey, because every other race this year, Roger Yasukawa has been the spotter for Takuma Sato, but he's driving today.
Yeah.
So Nick Harvey is taking over those spotter duties.
And Nick Harvey's no stranger to that. He's been an engineer. He's been a strategist. I mean, he's really worked around.
Both your cars just pitted, Robbie.
Again, and that's just a top off. These are all the guys in the back of the queue. Nothing crazy here. Just topping off, trying to extend that fuel window.
And Robbie, that's exactly precisely the reason. If you look at the starting positions of the guys that did pit, like Wilson, like Paul Tracy, like Tagliani, it makes sense because you make about 8 miles to the gallon under caution. Running these caution laps, checking with the telemetry, you can kind of figure now that when you go back to green, you've got maybe 3, maybe to as many as 5 additional laps outside the window, so you can push it a little further, so you don't have to worry about things. If you're in the back, you pit, you're still going to be in the back.
And we have another angle of the replay of Baguette's problem on board with Takuma. Yep.
Yeah, you see everybody sparking, so that means, you're hitting a little harder than you'd like because you're still building pressure in those tires. And do you notice he was on the higher side of the racetrack as well?
Paul Tracy makes another pit stop and tops off.
Like Jack just said, you just keep coming in. If you're at the back and you come in, you're still at the back, but you got some more fuel, so you can go a little bit longer, which plays favor in terms of pushing that pit window.
And the person who leads right now obviously put that little pit tactic to very good use at the last race.
Very good at Kentucky, yes, sir.
Sometimes that does really pay.
But as we're thinking back and talking about Elio with that pit tactic, it wasn't part of the plan. They had a little miscue, so they had to shift the plan, and because of that miscue, that plan shift is what won that race.
Yep. Good call by Roger Penske, and a great in-color interview there with Roger Penske and Chip Ganassi in our pre-race show. At the top of the screen, you can see the running order. It's Castroneves, Briscoe, Franchitti, Andretti. Will Power dropped back to 5th position. Marco Andretti has moved up nicely. Actually, the driver gaining the most positions in the opening laps was Milka Duno, who gained 6 positions. Mario Moraes 5. Matos, Dixon, and Di Silvestro all gained 3 positions as we're on board with Weldon.
there with Weldon, we just saw the tire marks of turn 2 where Bertrand went in, and that definitely was in the middle portion of that corner where those bumps are, and off he went.
Yep. Hey, Bob, they have a special decal on the car you're looking at, and that, of course, is Roger Yasukawa, who was born in L.A., speaks fluent Japanese, and is cheered on equally, along with Takuma Sato and, of course, Hideki Muto. But on the nose of the car, there is a good luck sticker. Joshua Hall, who is a staff sergeant in the 19th National Guard Unit 3. His unit is being dispatched to Afghanistan, and Joshua's brother is one of the crew members on this team. As a surprise to Joshua and to his brother, the team had the decal made. It rides on the nose, and it wishes Joshua Godspeed and thanks him for his service to our country.
Wow, very nice. Yeah, Roger Yasukawa is a Native American, but he is of Japanese descent. And right now he finds himself back in 22nd position, driving for Conquest Racing this year, or this week, I should say, as Helio Castroneves has the field stacked up behind him. And as we come down for lap number 11, we will get the green flag and an Apex Brazil green flag restart. Here we go.
Oh, look at Dario.
Franchitti looking for second position, dives to the inside of Briscoe and gets a half a car length ahead.
And everybody in that top group, say 7 cars, when I looked over the mile, they were all pushing their overtake button. It was lit up green on our board.
Oh, Briscoe's coming back.
Coming back. Now you got to get it up alongside. He's alongside to get into 3.
Whoa, look out.
That's a single groove track through there. I mean, you can go side by side because we just saw it.
And now Dario has the momentum, can chop him up and get it back.
Okay, so Briscoe, be patient here. Just set him up to get a good run off of 2 and dive back underneath him into 3.
They're both on the button right now. They're both on the overtake.
This is just what he did before. He came down the inside, and they went through side by side when the fast way is one car by himself, and Briscoe got it. Now, wow.
Good stuff. Early in the going.
He's coming back.
Here comes Dario back on the inside.
And where the pass all starts for that turn 3 entry really is coming off of turn 4. It's when you can go back to full power coming off of 4. 1 and 2, you're just flat out and trying to be as free as you can with the car.
Watch the way they go down into come off of turn number 2. That's the end result right there as you're watching out of 3 and through 4. At the drivers' meeting, they discuss, and you heard Dario talking and TK talking about just how much all the blocking routine's going to be allowed to do. When you go down into the corner, you see Ryan Briscoe, he elects to stay down on the white line. They told him if you do that, you can drift up half a lane, but you can't impede the car behind you. That was some nifty action between those 2 drivers, showing a lot of respect and adhering to the rules Brian Barnard outlined in the drivers' meeting.
That little battle has broken off for second position, and while Dario and Ryan were battling for second position, Helio got himself a rather comfortable lead here, pulling out to about a 1.3-second advantage. The top 5, Castroneves, Briscoe, Franchitti, Andretti, and Canard, with 14 laps completed.
At Mothers, we come up with innovative solutions to common car care problems, like yellow clouded headlights. They're unsightly, and the reduced light output is a serious safety concern. Mothers Powerball for Lights is a revolutionary product. Restoring headlight clarity may seem complicated, but it's not. Powerball for Lights is quick, inexpensive, and easy to use, even on severely damaged headlights. Restore, maintain, and protect. Mothers Powerball for Lights Headlight Restoration Kit.
If you know passion, you know my name. If the roar of a race car gives you goosebumps. If you believe that no one ever remembers who comes in second. If you're into checkered flags, chugging milk, burning rubber, you know my name. If you've ever pressed your nose to a chain-link fence to get a closer look. If you own a pair of earplugs. If you know Andretti, Rahal, and Unser, you know my name. You know my name because I've been here from the very beginning. as vital today as I was over 100 years ago.
100 miles to go.
I am a powerhouse. I am running wide open with no finish line in sight. I am the fire that never goes out. You know my name. I am then, I am now, I am forever. I am Firestone, and I am proud.
Back at Twin Ring Motegi for the Indy Japan 300, a battle here between Dan Weldon and Ryan Hunter-Reay, and that is for 9th position, and Weldon will take it.
So he's calling in. And you could tell he had too much push because he's working his way up the racetrack. And boy, when he got pushed up a little bit by Weldon and caught that bump, boy, it got a big wiggle, Robbie. And when the car's got too much push, when it's got too much push, you got to wait to get on the throttle. It's going up the racetrack, and if you go with more power, you're just going to pick yourself right up into that wall. So you have to wait on that car to turn more before you can get to power. And remember, the key to the pass in turn 3 is how you get to the power coming off of turn 4.
Guys, you checked in with David Cripps, who's calling the shots for Dan Weldon. They like their race car, but Dan Weldon says it's a little bit slow down the straightaway. Guys, isn't that generally an indicator that maybe you've added just a little bit too much downforce?
But not a bad thing. You know, Jack, the conditions of it being the hottest race we've ever had here, and when it gets hot like there, the track gets greasy, so probably not a bad call. Let's be patient. There's a lot of racing to go. Let's see how that car is as you get to the last 50 laps.
Danica Patrick on board with her right now, looking back to Weldon. She has gained 4 positions since the drop of the green flag, but Rafael Matos has gained 6th positions, went from 19th to 13th, and Mario Moraes has also gained 6 positions since the drop of the green.
You could hear her going up through the gears. That's because usually at this pace of the race, you go down 2 gears. There she just went up 1. She'll hit 6th gear either here, right there, just on the approach to turn number 1. Hold it all the way around. You can see on the telemetry. And if she doesn't have someone ahead of us, she'll go down to 4th gear, down to turn number 3.
Top speed probably 207. Yep, just saw up to 207. Dumping the throttle and dropping your 2 gears.
There we are. In traffic, sometime you might go to 3rd, but that's really only if you get bottled up.
And that area where you're dropping those 2 gears, where we saw Danica drop the gears, here you're flat out 6th gear. You got 3 different lanes you can really run over in 1 and 2. But as you get into that 3 and 4, that really is the place that everybody's been fighting. They say, oh, my car's pushing. You make a couple changes to the car, it gets loose. I mean, that's where the key to this race is going to be using your bars and your jacker in the cockpit, as well as changes to the balance of that race car throughout your stops.
Wow, look at Danica's laps from 193 up to over 195.
Which you would think would be awesome until you see that Castro Neves has done a 199.
Right.
Which is, that's almost qualifying.
Yeah, but that last time back at 195, that's the pace that Briscoe, who's running in P2, that's what he's run. So, you know, Danica's got a pretty well-balanced car. We know she likes his racetrack.
Franchitti continues to run in 3rd position. He's about 4 seconds behind the leader of the race. Elio leads, Ryan Briscoe running 2nd, and Dario is 3rd.
Will's definitely hungry for it, as am I, to get a 3rd championship. His team has a lot of experience, and they can guide him. But he's been doing a very good job, and he's a tough adversary. So I'm hopeful we can get him.
He, of course, talking about Will Power, who is the points leader coming into Motegi, and with only 1 more race to go after this one. Can Franchitti pull off a 2-year-in-a-row championship? After taking that year off to run NASCAR, he has come back to the IZOD IndyCar Series with a vengeance, hasn't he?
Well, he's not only going to have to contend with Will Power, he's going to have to contend with that guy who's Will Power's teammate. Elio Castroneves has made it very clear in all the pre-prep for this race that they're out there to do everything they can to bring Team Penske that championship, and the guy that's driving that is Will Power. So Dario's got to go against Briscoe, Elio, and Power.
And this is the 6th race of the year that Elio has led, 4 on ovals and 2 on road courses. He has led since the drop of the green flag here this afternoon in Motegi. And we have completed 29 laps. We're on lap number 30. Briscoe about 2.5 seconds behind. Franchitti, Andretti, Kanaan, the top 5. Then Howard, Dixon, Patrick Weldon, and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Bed in America.
After today, 1 race remains. Be sure to join us here on Versus for the Cafés do Brasil Indy 300 from Homestead Miami Speedway, Saturday night, October 2nd at 6 o'clock Eastern. You know how tight the points battle is going in. We'll know in a couple of hours how it is going out, but it will be the final event, Saturday, October 2nd, 6 Eastern here on Versus. And as you know, Lindy and Robbie Floyd are at their homes chatting and tweeting with you fans, and our poll results on Versus.com indicates that you race fans think that Will Power is going to win the championship. He has a 37 to 27% lead over Dario. So there you go. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't bet against Power.
It'd be pretty tough to, wouldn't it?
Again, just think about what he's done on the last 2 ovals at Chicago and Kentucky. I mean, the results haven't been there because of certain miscues. He can do it, but Dario mentally, he's doing all the chasing, and I think there's just a lot more pressure on Power being up front, don't you?
And speaking of Will Power, when we look back to find him, remember that you heard from Ryan Briscoe, his teammate, talking about when you come here for the first time, he's now run the course, he's qualified in the top 3, but race conditions are much different, and he just doesn't have in his database, in his own personal database, what the car is going to feel like and how it's going to change during a race. So I think that's why he's dropped back. He's got to stay out of trouble.
But that's a good mental approach for the driver. Don't get yourself in trouble. Continue to learn about the track. You're in the championship hunt.
Simona Di Silvestro being lapped there. You saw her at the bottom of the racetrack. We are on board with Kanaan, who is running in 7th position. I'm sorry, he is running in 5th, looking back to Will Power, who is in 6th. And there is Simona on the right part of your screen.
And a shout out to that team. Remember, she had another big accident at the last race. They've gone now to the 3rd car of the year after also having a bad accident in Texas. And so they've got yet another tub, tried to put it together, but obviously it hasn't come together with much speed.
And at this racetrack, when you're off the pace and you're staying out of the groove, looking back from Weldon's car, Danica, but when you're off the pace and you're letting cars go by and you get off the groove, it's just insult to injury because you pick up more stuff on your tires and your car gets worse and worse. And it is absolutely no fun. And Simona's in a little bit of that window right now.
Uh-oh, that's Lloyd.
Alex Lloyd is slowing down dramatically and dives toward the bottom of the racetrack.
Just in time there as the leaders went by, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that looked like...
We saw Dan Weldon take 8th position from Danica Patrick before we went to this shot of Alex Lloyd, who looks like coasting down the backstretch.
You know, I'll wait and see. I just wonder if he's lost the fire or whether he rubbed something.
Yeah. He was pretty way high on the racetrack going slow, and then all of a sudden dove down in.
Dario Franchitti, by the way, has gone to 2nd, passing Ryan Briscoe.
And that's right what we saw when we saw him coming down pit road, when we saw Alex coming down pit road. Those cars going side by side was the Penske and Franchitti car, and that was Franchitti getting by Briscoe.
I'm telling you, Dario is living up to what he has said, in that he's going out aggressively, not worrying about Will Power.
And we will have a yellow because of the Alex Lloyd car, which apparently is not going to make it to pit lane.
And they will pit, but this is at the very early part of the window, so now you'll have a shakeup. Yeah. Here you were hoping to go longer, and now all of a sudden you may have to pit. Well, everyone will pit.
Yeah, on an oval like this,
Yellow,
you get hammered if you try and chance it for green. Everybody's going to come in.
What I'm saying, though, is that, yes, you all pit, but you also are just sneaking inside the window of 2 more stops after that, so then you have to start thinking, do I save fuel or do I go for it?
I was going to say, when do you say I want to play the game of saving fuel? Because you're going to have to, with this being the front end of that first pit win.
So this will shake it up.
Honda pace car picks up the leader, Elio Castroneves, and as you saw on pit lane, everybody is laid out, getting set for the first round of pit stops. We're on lap number 42, or rather completed lap number 42 on lap number 43.
The window was going to open at 44, but by the time you pit, run a couple laps under yellow, it'll be just about what you want.
And the pits aren't open yet, so it'll be another lap before they can come in.
That helps.
Yep.
But again, even though you say that window starts at 44, Jan, you still want to go as deep as you can into it. Yes, that's the opening of the window, but that's not the best scenario.
It's not the premium spot.
No.
There is Roger Yasukawa in car number 36, the second car from Conquest Racing, although the other Conquest car crashed out early with Bertrand Bargat.
Now, we should also remember, when you have everyone pitting at the same time, that is when you can make or break positions on pit lane, and that's when you can have incidents. And when you're running for a championship, remember how many things have happened this year on pit road. Be good to keep our eyes open for the entire field because they'll all hit at the same time.
Yeah, from the driver's standpoint, you would think their heart rate's up the most when they're on the track. Actually, it's at this point right now because it's not in their hands anymore. When they get that thing parked in the box, it's out of their hands and their heart rate goes up.
This is going to be good.
Wow, look at the scramble to get onto pit lane and define your pit box. Wow, Jack.
Elio Castroneves hits his pit mark as Dario Franchitti goes to his. Now they'll just change the tires and fill the car with fuel. These are 45-foot wide pit boxes, so there's plenty of room. Fuel is in. He hits the button, starts away being chased by his teammate, Brian Briscoe, and they almost connect, guys, as they get to the end of pit road.
But Power picked up one. Yep. Briscoe picked up and got by Franchitti.
And Elio was just a foot ahead of Briscoe as they crossed that timing line. Did you see that?
So Elio will maintain the lead here in our second caution of the afternoon for Alex Lloyd's stall car on the racetrack. Back in a moment on Versus.
Grams of delicious whole grain, one mighty toasted crunch. New Wheat Thins Crunch Sticks. The crunch is calling.
Follow your inner driver to the all-new Zoom Zoom Concentrated Mazda 2 or the wicked fun Mazda 3. Either way, your inner driver gets what it's after. Experience a test drive today.
Performance, and it's electric.
With the Peak Jump Starter, you don't need another car to jump your dead battery. Just hook it up and start it up, and you're on your way. And the Peak Jump Starter has a low charge alert system. An alarm sounds when your jump starter needs recharging. Get a Peak Jump Starter, so you'll always have the protection of power when you need it.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
GoDaddy.com, this is Jane.
Jane.
Yes, sir.
What's your real name?
Jay.
Yeah, right. And I guess you want me to believe you're here in America.
All GoDaddy support is right here in the USA.
First president.
Washington.
Capital of Texas.
Austin.
Who won the 1994 World Series?
Trick question. There was no series.
Wow.
Now I have a question for you. How can I help you with your domain and website?
GoDaddy.com. Domains, websites, and everything in between.
Ladies and gentlemen, and the green flag waves, and we're underway at Twin Ring Motegi. Oh, look out!
Under caution here at Twin Ring Motegi with 47 laps completed. Alex Lloyd's car stalled on the racetrack. And we had some very close quarters coming off of pit lane because everybody came in for a pit stop. And here was the battle off of the pit road.
When you see Elio drop, right behind him, Briscoe drops a fraction ahead, and you can see how you have to thread the needle there. And from the front, you get a great angle of how you have to shoot the gap. Briscoe really tried. He nearly gets by his teammate on the high side. And we're back to a restart.
And green flag, and here we go once again. The most laps that Elio has led in a single race this year was 43 at Iowa when he finished in second position. Today he has led from the drop of the green, so he has led 48 and counting as we pick up in a battle in the middle of the pack. That's E.J. Viso, and right behind her, Milka Duno. And Vitor Mira coming to the inside of Milk, and man, did they get close. This is Sato.
All right, Michael, settle in nicely.
15th.
Lots of coaching from upstairs. That was a bar change. He took his left hand off, and you can change the anti-roll bars front rear. Look at the momentum he's got right now.
And that's the same when he got that left hand and went down. That's where the front bar and the rear bar all together.
He's going after Rahal.
He's inside him.
Got him. It's Alex Tagliani behind Graham.
Just after Nick Harvey finished telling him, let's settle down. And he's like,
I'm going to get him. Yeah, but there's some drivers, a spotter's going to say that all race long. That's what they're going to say all race long. Look at that, Tracy.
That's Tracy up on the high side of...
it didn't work, as we noticed that.
That didn't work.
Got up in the gray a little bit there, had to get out of the throttle. Well, Sato has absolutely been impressive with being on his home turf and all the pressure that goes with that. He had a crash. There he's adjusting the bars again. So he's working the bars every lap. He goes down, and usually when you're pulling the bar back like he just did, he's softening it as he goes through 1 and 2, and there he stiffens it. So he stiffens it back up, it looks like, as you go into 3. And when you're stiffening, it just holds the car up because it rolls in there more. So that's probably the scenario he's working those bars on.
There are some people that do the weight jacker and the bars at each end of the course every single lap because they're so different. And look how tight these quarters are with Tagliani now on the high side.
And Marias on the bottom.
And that's okay to be on that high side, but don't get up out of that groove. You get up out of that groove where we saw Tracy, it didn't work. Alex Tagliani, he was on the high side, but he didn't get all the way out of the darker shaded pavement where it gets slick.
Tagliani has taken over 16th from Marias. There's Milka Duno. Now she is a lap down to the field, running in 21st position, so this is not a battle for position, as once again Sato makes an adjustment.
Yeah, and like you said, Jan, every lap there's guys that are doing stuff with the jack or the bars, and every time that Sato goes into turn 3, he stiffens up that bar.
When Takuma Sato went out to qualify yesterday, there was a fairly decent crowd here, and I don't understand Japanese, but the call when he qualified in the 7th position, do you remember the excitement at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway from that large crowd when Elio Castroneves won the pole position after having to go out and win it back, and the way people were screaming and yelling? That's exactly what happened here for a 7th place qualifying mostly for Takuma Sato. When he got out of the car, guys, you would have thought they were going to hand him the Borg Warner trophy.
Well, you know, Robbie Buell was one of those that was jumping up and down because we talked this morning that was for the amount of time he had in the car, that was a fantastic effort.
When he had that qualifying, we were on board on the in-car camera, and he had such a big save in lap 1 there, and usually when that happens, you back way off. No, he stayed right with it, and like you said, Jack, when they announced that he was in P7, they went crazy. Well, he drove his butt off to get that.
Helio Castroneves continues to lead by about a second and a half over his teammate Ryan Briscoe, and he has also turned in the fastest lap of the race on lap number 13 at almost 200 miles an hour. Now the maximum G's they pull here, 3.8 or more.
Or more.
Yes.
We've heard both, haven't we?
Yeah. Anyway, Briscoe is in second, Franchitti third, then Kanaan and Marco Andretti in the Indy Japan 300.
I'm coming to take over the world of lip racing, starting with you, DSRL.
Stuffy, make the call.
Story about a man with a car and a job, a wife and a kid, his name is Bob. Just a regular guy with a regular car, but it's what he rolls on that makes him a star. His Firestone tires are known far and wide. The way they perform gives a sense of pride. That's Bob's story, he ain't no liar, because everybody knows the legends ride Firestone. Legendary drivers need legendary tires.
Only real car guys could have come up with this.
One product that cleans wheels and tires.
Keep your wheels and tires looking great.
Looking great. Looking great.
With foaming all-wheel and tire cleaner from others. Just spray on, hose off, and that's it.
It's really that easy.
A unique spot-free rinse with no need to hand dry.
At Mazda Americas.
At Fuss Design.
At MHT Wheels.
At Pirelli Tire North America.
We all agree.
Nothing performs like Mother's foaming all-wheel and tire cleaner.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Marco Andretti. Select race transport. Mission finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
A year ago, Will Power didn't know if he would ever race again. Power rose to the challenge.
Power continues to dominate.
As a season-long points leader, he had a record 8 poles and 5 wins. Knowing the taste of victory, Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon are thirsty for more. Can Will Power prevail in the race for the championship?
Winning back-to-back championships would mean a lot. It would mean from where we came from at the end of 2008 to now, it would be very special. You know, winning one championship in the 500 has been special, but to do it again would be awesome.
Can he win again this year? Homestead Miami Speedway will end the season in 2 weeks, and man, the points are very, very close at this point in the race. Separation is only 4. Will Power has a 4-point advantage on Dario Franchitti, and Helio is 73 behind. There was a time when we were saying, oh boy, Power's going to have this thing wrapped up by Kentucky, but this is going to go to Homestead Miami as it has the last several years.
And Bob, right now, after that pit stop, Will Power is being posted in the 9th position. Here's what happened. Power saw Alex Lloyd go wide in the corner and start to stall down the backstretch. Robbie, you were talking along with Jan about the fact that Will doesn't have a big black book of race conditions. He immediately got out of the throttle, did what they call anticipated the yellow flag, but came late, and therefore he got passed by a number of cars. I talked to his crew chief, and he said, now we're just trying to keep him calm and work our way back to the front pack. An update on his teammate. Slight vibration being reported on Ryan Briscoe's car, on Elio Castroneves, the wingman right now out front. Everything is A-OK, according to Tim Cindric.
Well, I think, we talk about power that we just saw. Now we're watching Elio. But that conservative approach, yes, he's new to this track, but again, he's the points leader.
Oh, Mario Moraes has crashed hard in turn 2, I would think. Wow. A lot of debris on the racetrack.
But again, with power, it's a lot tougher being the guy leading than the guy chasing, and I just think that's a little bit of what you see of that being conservative.
And we wait, obviously, and good. There's movement in the cockpit. But as soon as you know he's okay, people start thinking, okay, what happens strategy-wise? They didn't pit that long ago. The leaders all in my view, have to pit and take the yellow. This could be a time a few people gamble. This could be a time that a few people who want to make up some positions can stay out.
Well, you still are going to have to make 2 more stops after this regardless.
Hideki Muto's on board. Look ahead.
Coming near the bump. Right there. He's high. That was more sparks than just a bump. It looks like the car may have let down.
Yeah, because there's big sparks on the left-hand side of the car.
Left rear.
The left rear, and your load actually should be to the right. So that big of a spark there.
It's almost like something let the car down on the left rear. He's not out yet. I mean, he certainly was moving.
Yeah, he was signaling. He was signaling, come to me.
Right. It looks like he's climbing out. Here's another angle on the left.
Up higher. Yeah, there's big spark. That third spark we saw, which is really the one set. I mean, that's not just the little titanium skid blocks and running low.
Yeah, he has not yet gotten out of the race car. And Kevin Kalkoven and Jimmy Basser of KV Racing Technology, they have had a very tough season in terms of wrecked race cars.
Turns my stomach.
Yeah, well, as a car owner,
but it is part of the business. But I think the number is absolutely north of 30 incidents that those guys have had at KV, and they're going to have to go back, put this car back together, go to Homestead. I mean, you just can't get out of it. You got to just keep working through it.
If you would have had a single spark, that could have been a bump on the road. But when it continues to spark like that, like you said, Robbie, it continues to drag. That doesn't make sense unless something's let down.
Yeah, and again, I just think of the load transfer in the car should be more on the right side. I mean, sure, you have tilt in the car and what you're doing with how you level the platform with regards to the load the car takes, but that was a significant sparking.
Moraes' best finish this year was at Long Beach back in April. He finished 6th, and he also came in 7th at Edmonton on the road course there.
Well, remember a year ago, he was on the provisional pole here, started on the front row, so not been the couple days he's wanted, returning to a track that had good memories.
It's like they're getting the back brace out, the board.
Well, they're the best in the business of just knowing what to do and the procedures of doing it.
By the way, I was going to say, sometimes you do forget that you're still over 200 miles an hour all the way through, and from that overhead shot, you get an idea of how much speed you can carry through that larger end of the racetrack. But here we go. Is anyone going to stay out?
Not Elio and most of the others.
I knew the leaders would come in.
So 60-mile-an-hour speed limit, second pit stop of the day. Now on hand here, as he has been for so many years, but not changing the front tire, is Rick Reineman. They put it through. Swing into the car, and he's off the way. Reineman, by the way, celebrating his 60th birthday today here in Motegi.
And we'll Power just got 3 spots. So he got 3 of those spots back, and Danica Patrick made some hay also. Nice job by the team.
Adjustments that could have been made depending on what the drivers are saying is when you come and put a new set of tires on, they may adjust the pressure in those tires. They may add a pound or take a pound out of the right side or the left side depending on what you're looking to get from the car. If you need the car to turn a little bit more, maybe you'd add a pound in that right rear. So those are the subtle changes in tuning that you're doing when you come in for the stops.
On the leaderboard, we see now Rafael Matos leading. Didn't pit, and he leads, so he's rolled the dice.
All right, they are making sure that everything is okay as they lift Mario Moraes out of his wrecked race car. Back in a moment.
Paper.
Mario Moraes has been lifted from the car. He was put on a stretcher. He is talking with his rescuers in animation. His arms are moving and his legs are moving, and so hopefully this is just a precautionary thing, but they are taking no chances and putting him on the back brace and the stretcher. Our third caution period of the afternoon. Bertrand Bagat crashed, and then Alex Lloyd. Car had problems on the racetrack. However, he is back in the race. Alex Lloyd is back in the race. Lost about 15 laps during his stall and subsequent restart.
We mentioned Rafael Matos there. You can see him number 2, but right behind Hideki Muto also did not stop. So these two rolling the dice, getting a great boost in track position. And like we said, Robbie, everyone will still have to stop the same number of times to the end. So it's a calculated gamble.
No, I like it. I mean, this is a difficult track to pass on, so you got to gamble to say, hey, how am I going to get up and be on this podium? Well, this is a way to do it.
Matos has gained 18 positions since the start of the race. Muto 15 and Alex Tagliani 9. And Matos and Mutos made the large advances because they did not stop during this caution period. It is only the third race that Rafa has led in his IZOD IndyCar Series career. He led 2 laps at Long Beach and 3 laps at St. Pete.
Hey guys, one of the things that's interesting, remember we're talking about, and you guys alluded to it, how tough it is to pass here. If you look back historically at this race, there's always 1 or 2 drivers that do exactly what Rafa Matos is doing right now in Hideki Muto, and it has paid off. Remember the case of Helio Castroneves and the 7 of Danica Patrick? So in some cases, you know, we've always been taught about the situation should be that you count backwards. But what you have to do sometimes, and at this point in the race you can afford to do it, you start to roll the dice a little bit because, John, as you said, eventually you're going to get caught back up, but you've got a little room now to wiggle. I want to update you, too, on one of the unique medical procedures here in Japan. Because we're in a foreign country, the Japanese medical personnel take over once the driver is delivered to the infield care center. Now, the Americans do have their IZOD IndyCar medical staff here, but due to laws in Japan, we will be getting the information from the PR staff here. We'll get you an update on Rafa Matos as soon as possible.
That would be Mario Moraes. Jack.
He got us confused there, didn't he?
It's still almost 90 degrees here, and I'm starting to lose my train of thought.
Well, I can also imagine that you've got to be jet lagged. Man, I was over there a few years ago, and that's a long way over there.
Yeah, and we're not going to let Jack slide on that just because he wants a little sympathy. Right. No way.
Not from us.
Hey, the holiday crowd is going to be pulling for Muto here.
Yeah, buddy.
Let's see what he's able to do with Rafael Matos, who's the leader of the race.
Castroneves just got a big wiggle.
Big wiggle, and
they're going after him.
There goes Franchitti to the inside. Briscoe, they're both by him.
Oh, side by side through the corner for third.
So he just lost at least 2. That was a big wiggle and a great save, but boy, he's lost momentum.
Good eyes, Jan.
He's going to come right back at him.
Briscoe. Boy, Dario is doing exactly what he keeps saying. Just aggressively going towards the front, doesn't care about willpower.
Got to go after it. Danica Patrick is sixth, I should say.
And that's in that one area between 3 and 4, just that perfect balance of the race car. You want to get back to that power as soon as you can, and Elio just trying to get back to that. Had that little wiggle, had to dump the throttle, and
there is Power, who's back in 9th position.
He had made 3 up in the pits.
Yep.
And look at the run that Dixon has on Power. You saw he had a little look as they went into 3, and he's going to get that pass done as he's along the inside as they're in the middle of 1 and 2.
Whoa! Wow. Well, he knows. He knows this is team versus team. He needs to try and put him behind.
Is that a function? Did you notice how much ground Power made back up on him? I'd say Power's got a little less downforce in the car versus Dixon, because Dixon has a good run where you need the downforce right here in 3 and 4, gets a run up on him, but couldn't get it done. So I'd have to say maybe a little less downforce. We'll see how that unfolds.
Agreed.
Elio moves to 5th.
Boy, Danica's right in there.
Yeah.
But what a long lift, though. Woo.
Yeah. But look at the cars up in front of Elio. Time it.
That's
she did. She's coming. Danica's coming back at Helio.
Briscoe, Franchitti.
Good battle here for 4th, 3rd.
Again, as you're trying to work through traffic, now look up ahead.
Watch Danica. She's got a head of steam here.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The battle up in front there, just kind of keep your eye on that and just keep yourself back enough that you can take advantage of it when they hold each other up.
Elio moves to 4th.
What a difference one wiggle makes.
Wow. Flat out on the gas.
Oh, and he lifted.
I said flat out on the gas. He hit that bump, and he was coming up behind Danica and just dumped that throttle a little bit.
Yep, sure enough.
And he got passed by Power because of it.
As soon as you lift, you're going to be a sitting duck.
But look at Kanaan come back through there. Again, I think there's maybe more downforce in that 7-Eleven car than right there on Power's car, and that's why he's struggling maybe a little bit in 3 and 4.
And you have to plan one of these passes a good lap ahead. Look how long it takes for it to develop.
Look at him. Do you see how he out-accelerate him before you get to turn 3, so you're flat out? So I think that's a safe bet.
Got some straight line speed.
But he sure doesn't like the car down in 3 and 4 where you need that extra bite from the car.
Monhouse has continued to hold on to that top spot. Briscoe has passed Hideki Muto and moved into 2nd spot. And then here comes Elio and Franchitti.
And there, you see how Elio got blocked from Muto going in there? That's where Danica, who's 2 cars back, has to kind of look ahead and say, oh, Elio got checked up a little bit. How can I take advantage of that?
This is Hideki Muto's 3rd race here at Motegi. He finished 11th in 08 and 14th last year.
Now for these two who are up at the front, for both Matos and Muto, they can go at the moment till about lap 105. And again, they still only have 2 stops just like everyone else. If for some reason there was a caution between now and a lap 105, they would be very happy with that.
Ryan Briscoe has taken over the lead from Rafael Matos.
Look at the run. Look at the run he's got along the inside. Got it done. You heard dropping 2 gears there on Muto's car.
Elio moving back toward the front of the field after a wiggle on a restart. He is now 3rd. And here comes Dixon to the inside of Power.
Now let's see if powers by again. That's a good example.
But that's as big a gap as we've seen anybody coming off a 2 on him.
I think he had to lift a little bit. He got high there at the exit of 2.
Watch Kanaan eat him up. Kanaan's probably got a little bit more downforce. He's going to go back to Power now. I'm back to Power. I'm going to eat you up as I come off here. Willpower. Back to the accelerator for Kanaan, not to confuse that. And he is. Look at the run he's got. But now this is where Power power starts accelerating. That little less downforce in the car makes it tougher for Kanaan to close right in this section here. And sure enough, he ain't making ground anymore.
Power up ahead. We're on board with Kanaan. And these two drivers have combined to complete all but 5 laps this season. Kanaan has completed every lap but 1, and Power has completed every lap but 4 during the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series.
Franchitti working on Muto.
Boy, when we have cars bunched up after a caution, we've seen some very, very good side-by-side racing. And Dario will move to fourth.
And you know, it was a great comment that Briscoe made at the beginning of the show. He said, turns 1 and 2 is a super speedway, turns 3 and 4 is a mile oval in terms of how it gives you conditions.
They're the laps completed this year. Tony, 99.9. Danica Patrick is third on the list, and Ryan Hunter-Reay fourth.
And for Tony, he only gets the 99.9 because he finished one race down a lap. He actually has run every lap, but unfortunately he got lapped once. Otherwise, he would have that 100% mark.
That's a pretty good record. Danica 6th, Muto 5th, up ahead.
Compare that to TV racing. Over 30 crashes. Now that's including practice and so on, but still, what a difference when you can keep the car running and keep it tuning. Because every time you crash one, it takes a lot of work to get the driver comfortable and get it back how you want it.
But at the beginning of the year, the beginning of every race, that's the plan. You want to finish every lap, be on the podium, win the race. So, you know, Kanaan's done a good job.
Since getting around Rafa Matos for the lead, Ryan Briscoe has lengthened his advantage to 2.2 seconds. Running third is Elio Castroneves. Dario Franchitti is fourth. Hideki Muto is in 5th position. And there is the leader of the race currently, Ryan Briscoe, with 93 laps completed.
Three-time Indy 500 winner, Elio Castroneves. Danica Patrick into the lead, making history. Fans on their feet for the side-by-side action. Dario Franchitti, your series champion.
The IZOD IndyCar Series. Get tickets now. Call 866-INDYCAR or visit IndyCar.com.
Complete opposites in complete harmony. Introducing the Sport Hybrid. The combination only Honda could engineer. The all-new CRZ Sport Hybrid.
Quality and value. Style. Performance. Sure, you want it all. Just don't want to spend it all. No problem. Just go with the brand voted #1 overall. Toyo tires. For 7 of the last 9 years by people who know best. Independent tire dealers, just like me. So for top quality and top value, take it from the pros. Toyo tires.
We know you want battles. We know you want border wars, a civil war, and a duel in the desert. You want the beehive boot, the bronze boot, and the spirit of Troy. You want cougars on horned frogs, cowboys on Aztecs. We know you want trophies made of axes and bells of victory. We know because we know college football. Catch Navy at Air Force, presented by Windows 7, the Mountain West, and the Pac-10 on Versus.
It's the Indy Japan 300 at Twin Ring Motegi in Japan, and the leader of the race is Ryan Briscoe. However, his teammate Elio Castroneves got around Rafa Matos, and now Elio runs second and is cutting into Ryan's lead. Franchitti runs in 4th position right now, and the other championship contender, Will Power, is in 8th. As they run on the racetrack right now, the lead is 9 points. Will over Dario.
Well, we know with what resulted with Briscoe last year and leaving the pits and tagging that wall that took him out of this race and really effectively the championship. He absolutely would like to finish this thing on top of the podium. No question.
Yep. 3 appearances here for Ryan Briscoe, and now Danica Patrick we see running in 6th position. Jack?
Bob, let's go back to that incident with Ryan Briscoe last season. You remember, after a pit stop, they dropped the jack. He fired the car, lit the tires up, and ended up spinning into the end of pit speed cone. Well, here's what the IZOD IRL officials did this year. They moved pit number 1 for the leader, Will Power, back 2 stalls. They also moved to resume the end of pit road speed back about 20 feet. And so far, so good for everyone.
Okay, Jack, thank you. Now we see Dario closing in on Rafa for 3rd place, and Matos has got a pit. Drops down to the apron of the racetrack, and so Dario will take over that 3rd position.
And Matos was one of the 2 cars. Him and Hideki that stayed out on that, and so they've gone to lap 102, Jan.
Rafa Matos finished 9th here in his only race at Motegi last year, and he's coming toward you, Jack.
And Jill DeFerrin and Jay Penske watching as their crew goes to work. A calculated gamble that has not paid off handsomely for Rafa Matos in the HP car. He likes the tire test. And you heard him, blow by me.
8.5-second pit stop, and Matos runs back out onto the racetrack as we're on board now with Hideki Muto running in 4th spot.
And he should be coming in within a lap or 2.
And why Jack said that didn't pay off is because obviously they've had to come in under green conditions. We'll still see how it shakes out. And sure, he's in.
Yep. I don't think it'll work out so bad at the end of the day.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a little early to call that because these guys that are out on track, they may have to cycle back in on green as well.
Now, if there is a caution after this and everyone pits, then they are definitely toast.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hideki Muto, in full view of his dad, watching his first IndyCar race by his son, gets service from the Newman Haas team. A nominal stop for Muto, who again, like Matos, hit it out of sequence, and now they're just going to have to gain back. Who knows? If the lifestyle series of stops are under green, it could get interesting.
I like the idea that Hideki's father chose, instead of being in the pit box with his son, chose to be in the grandstand, I guess sitting by himself watching his son's first race in this series. That's kind of cool.
It's the best place to be.
Yep.
I mean, on these ovals, especially if you're close to the racetrack, the sense of speed and being able to see the whole racetrack is very cool.
And look at how Elio has closed in on Ryan Briscoe for the lead. It's down to less than half a second. Elio was the dominant car until we had the first round of pit stops, and he wiggled on the restart and lost several positions, but here he comes back again. There's the captain, Roger Penske. His drivers running 1st, 2nd, and 6th.
Again, remember the strategy we talked about earlier. Yes, Power is the one back in 6 of the Penske cars, but the strategy of these 2 guys being up at the front to take those points away and just kind of mess with Dario Franchitti and the Target Chip Ganassi cars, that's all part of the big picture that Roger and Tim Cindric need to be thinking about.
We are past the halfway point, 108 laps completed on lap 109 of 200 here at the Indy Japan 300. Ryan Briscoe leads Elio Castroneves.
The Indy Japan 300 on Versus is brought to you by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. And by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected. finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
If you're like me, you want maximum protection for your engine. You demand it, and Peak delivers. No matter what you drive or how you drive it, nothing protects better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, anytime. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
Make sure you get Peak protection. When you peak, you win.
Follow your inner driver to the all-new Zoom Zoom Concentrated Mazda 2 or the wicked fun Mazda 3. Either way, your inner driver gets what it's after. Experience a test drive today.
Green, 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 green. Hold your brake. Reset your fuel. Go, go, go.
Racing just doesn't get any better than this.
On the right, keep digging.
3 wide off of turn number 4. Look at them slice and dice. Whoa! Look out. The twin checkers will wave.
Welcome to the winner's circle.
Here's what's happened so far in today's race.
It was a clean start, but watch Rafael Matos, blue and silver, goes to the inside and actually goes underneath the white line through the transition of the banking, but he saves it. Not the case. Up ahead, Bertrand Baguette gets the bump, chases it, and then makes heavy contact at the outside of turn number 2. Thankfully, nobody else collects him, but an early end to the day for Baguette. Lap number 39, kind of a mystery problem for Alex Lloyd because we know now he has since got back into the race. Boy Scouts of America car. Lap number 68, same spot for Baguette, but this time we think it was a bump, but then maybe some kind of failure. When you see sparks after the bump, it certainly looks like the left rear of the car is dropped down, and unfortunately for Mario Marias, he did call the safety team to his aid. He was talking to them and moving. We have yet to have a report on his condition. Now, lap number 78, watch the wiggle there. Helio Castro Neves just coming off of turn number 4. Whoa, look out, and that gets a run. The 2 cars behind, Briscoe and Franchitti, pounce on him and take those positions away.
And we are under caution again here at Twin Ring Motegi as Paul Tracy rubbed the wall, brushed it, and we can see what happened in the replay. Here it is. Ooh, way up out of the groove.
Second time that we've seen him up there today. He saved it earlier, but this time does not. You see the barrier move.
And it was a good save. He was even, the rear of the car was coming around. He was coming up there. It wasn't just a four-wheel drift up there. It was coming around.
Now, unfortunately, Matos and Muto just got cooked.
Yes.
Yeah,
they made their pit stops. Now there's been a caution. The strategy just blew up.
Yeah, they needed it to stay green, and that group that's on the track stay out there and cycle in with it staying green.
So that backfired. It was good. I liked it for a while.
Yeah.
I'd do it. It was the right call.
Pits are still closed. Remember, during the last series of pit stops, Will Power gained several positions, and Danica Patrick also picked up 1 position during her pit stop. So we'll see how things go again as here comes the field.
Wow, look at Castro Neves just getting as close as he possibly can. You can't overtake, but you can get alongside.
Here's Jack.
And guys, here's what you have to watch now. Do you hit your marks exactly correctly? Brian Briscoe, Dario Franchitti, they are all in. Hey, see those marks? You want to hit them exactly right. Now the teams go to work. They want to add 22 gallons of fuel, change the fire structure off tire. The first one away. Look at this drag race. They go. come. And look who's gained a lot of spots, Danica Patrick. A good run by her and her team yet again. I think that moves her into 4th, but I'm no mathematician.
You are correct. Elio gains 1 and gets the lead back, and Danica will come back in 4th position, but we believe, I don't think that Muto and Matos pitted that time, did they? So they stayed out again.
Yeah, they would have stayed out because they've already come in and got their fuel, what they do about 12 laps ago.
Okay, we'll take another break from the action at the Indy Japan 300 at Twin Ring Motegi here on Versus. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Impressive. Call or click today.
Weeknights at 11, it's the Daily Line. Liam and the gang break down all the day's top stories, and Jen tells you what they're saying on the sports blogs. And you can join the conversation live by calling, texting, or tweeting. It's the Daily Line, weeknights at 11 o'clock, only on Versus. Under caution here at Twin Ring Motegi because of an incident with the wall with Paul Tracy, and there's his car apparently out of the race. And Jack has an update on the condition of Mario Marias.
Yeah, good news. He is awake. He is alert. Mario Marias, that's the report. They are going to airlift him. No need for concern. That's the standard policy here. To the Mito Hospital for further evaluation of suspected back pain. But I don't want anybody, we're used to in the United States, if they don't travel by land and they're in the air, that's a case of seriousness. Not here because of the location of the speedway. Everyone travels if they have to be evaluated at a hospital, but they get airlifted out by helicopter.
Okay, well, that sounds like it's good news. And yeah, the racetrack is located in a relative remote location, so an airlift is not something out of the ordinary. Now, Hideki Muto and Rafa Matos got the wave around. They're going to be at the end of the lead lap in 17th and 18th position, and the lead is in the hands of Elio Castroneves once again. And right behind him is Ryan Briscoe, who so far has led 32 laps here this afternoon. Daria Franchitti is running in the 3rd position, and as of right now, he has 12 points behind Will Power. There is Danica Patrick, who is in 4th position.
Will Power, of course, where he wants to be relative to the day.
Yep. Yeah, Dixon, I mean, he wasn't happy with his qualifying, but he seems to be keeping tuning on that car.
Tony Kanaan running in 7th position. And right behind him, another member of the Andretti Autosport team, Ryan Hunter-Ray, and Dan Weldon is 9th, and Marco Andretti is in 10th position as we have another Apex Brazil restart. And look at the jump that Dario got.
And watch Danica back there. I think she's even got more momentum if she has somewhere to go. On board with her. Like I said, I think she had to breathe off the gas a little bit, but still's got a big run. But patient, don't force it. You can't force it.
Wait, there's a little bit of weaving going on there.
Yeah, do you see the movement from Briscoe's car? That was just, it was like it was all loose. It was moving around loose back there, but in control.
Kanaan looking for a position from Will Power and trying to get 6th.
Yeah, but what we've seen before is right here. He'll take off to the races. And we think he's got less downforce. And look at Ryan Hunter-Ray making it a sandwich.
Oh, this...
Clearer heads prevailed for Ryan Hunter-Ray. He had the momentum. He said, wait a minute. Great call to have that presence.
That was biometrics on Robbie Buell on that one.
It all happens so quick.
That's good.
Look at he's got to run again. So just again, patience. Just set it back up and wait for the right time to strike.
Outside the top 10, Graham Rahal in 11th, E.J. Viso in 12th, and home country favorite Takuma Sato is 13th. Vitor Mira 14th, Tagliani 15th. In case you missed our pre-race show, we did make the announcement that A.J. Foyt IV and his wife Casey gave birth to A.J. Foyt V earlier tonight. So congratulations to the couple and to AJ.
Absolutely.
The first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Just on board there with Sato, what we talked about earlier. He's always going to changing those bars every time he goes into turn 3, and then he comes off the 4, pushing him the other way. He's still doing that, even with other changes they've made through pit stops. So that's something that is a dominant change that he does lap after lap.
Casey,
like 2 clicks with the bar there in terms of softening up.
I was just going to say, Casey, AJ the fourth's wife, is the daughter of Irsay, who owns the Indianapolis Colts. Bob Irsay.
Hard to keep all those numbers straight, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Safe to say Anthony's a big Colts fan.
Yeah. Sato and Viso racing for the 12th spot.
Viso has played a part in Sato's setup because we've documented that Sato had that big crash right at the opening of practice, and he needed to go to EJ Viso's setup, and said that really gave him the opportunity. That's why having a multiple car team really helped.
And why that information was valuable to Sato is EJ was pretty happy with his car as soon as they got on track. It wasn't though he was chasing his setup. He liked what he had, so that was a good thing for Sato, for EJ to be able to say, yeah, this is a good direction. Trust it.
But there's a lot of work going on in those cars when you consider that when you're not in traffic, you're going down 2 gears right here. Each straightaway you're going, in his case, you're making a bar adjustment, and he can also be making weight jacker because sometimes they put those pedals on the back of the wheel. So there's a lot going on. It's not just riding around looking for a place to pass.
Yeah, forget about the fact you're doing 200 miles an hour right now and you're trying to chase that guy in front of you with all that other stuff going on in the cockpit.
There's the 14th car of Vitor Mira running in 14th position. Jack?
As you were talking about AJ the fourth, when he came here and ran for his granddaddy in 2003, he needed to go to an ATM machine. And a man, it was 16 years old, Tetsuo Karamuchi, not only provided him with directions, but took him to that ATM machine. He came to the race as a guest of AJ the fourth, and he became so enamored with the Foyt family that he has traveled back and forth to the United States, and to see the U.S. travels with the Foyt hauler. Well, he is here. You see him on the right-hand side of the screen, here in his hometown, working yet again for A.J. Foyt, and he was one of the guys most excited when he heard about the birth of A.J. Foyt the fifth.
How about that? Good story, Jack. AJ did not make the trip to Japan, so he obviously is watching us tonight on Versus, and congratulations, great granddaddy. Okay, 133 laps completed out of 200 here at Twin Ring Motegi. It's Castroneves leading Franchitti and Briscoe.
IndyCar Nation, why aren't you a member yet?
Follow me behind the scenes.
Free timing and scoring. Free live video streaming. New and improved member benefits. The best IZOD IndyCar Series content anywhere.
Visit IndyCar.com. Enjoy IndyCar Nation today.
There's a reason why. In 5 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
If you're like me, you want maximum protection for your engine. You demand it, and Peak delivers. No matter what you drive or how you drive it, nothing protects better than Peak.
Peak Long Life Antifreeze is formulated with an advanced organic technology to protect any engine of any make, any model, any time. If you can drive it, Peak can protect it.
Make sure you get Peak protection. When you peak, you win.
I'm coming to take over the world of lip racing, starting with you, DSRL.
Stuffy, make the call.
Elio Castroneves continues to lead here at Twin Ring Motegi. He had led a total of 90 laps all year coming into this race, and he has just led his 92nd lap this afternoon at Motegi. And he is about 3.5 seconds ahead of Dario Franchitti. Now, we talked about A.J. Foyt in the previous segment. The A.J. Foyt Oval Championship will be decided here this afternoon. It is not including the Homestead Miami race 2 weeks from now. So the championship of the ovals will be decided this afternoon. And right now, Elio has an 11-point spread over, or Dario has an 11-point spread over Elio as they run.
Where do you guys think the big momentum shift was for this guy right here? I just think of that call they made at Chicago to not change tires, which gave them the lead, obviously went on to win that race. Then what happened with Will Power? I mean, I think that was, that was just a huge momentum switch, and that was a gamble, a risk call that paid off to create this.
And also, what a difference a year makes. When you look at that gap, when you look at the interval between Castroneves, then back to Franchitti, and you have a good graphic example of that. Part of the reason there's been a flip-flop is there's a tire change, is that they continually evolve these Firestone tires, and the Target team had a setup that blew everybody away last year, but all it takes is a little sidewall construction change, and all of a sudden, that setup doesn't work anymore. Penske has pounced on it, and now they've got the setup to meet.
No question, because these guys right here, the Target Chip Ganassi cars, as you said, were dominant here last year, and they don't have that magic that they have.
And Briscoe has talked time and time again. He thinks the reason they were so aggressive and why he crashed on pit lane was they were taking risks because they needed to somehow find a way to beat the Target team because they were dominant. Now it's flip-flop completely.
And Elio, who's running away with everybody right now. I mean, he's hooked up out there. Yeah. But he gave a lot of credit to the whole team and the preparation before you came to this track, how they were prepared to say, we have to be better at Motegi this year, and they are.
They figured out where their weak link was, and they fixed it.
Elio has clinched the 2 bonus points for leading the most laps at Motegi. That helps his teammate Will Power by taking points away from Dario. Now, we talked earlier in the show about how Dario will be going for back-to-back championships, and that has not happened very often. Only once in the Eyes on IndyCar Series history, Sam Hornish Jr. in 2001 and 2002, as we look at Marco Andretti, who has been running in or near the top 10 all afternoon, and he is currently in 10th. And look at the 4 Andretti Autosport drivers all in the top 10. Sam Hornish Jr., the only Eyes on IndyCar Series back-to-back champion, but it's happened several times in 40 years. Joe Leonard, Tom Sneva, Rick Mears, Bobby Rahal, Alex Zanardi, Gilles de Ferran, and Sebastian Bourdais, who won 4 years in a row.
Andretti Autosport, just let's think back to Kentucky. They had all 4 of their cars finish in the top 10 there as well. So they have really done a great job of focusing improvement on these super speedways.
Marco running in 10th spot. Just a little more than 50 laps to go in the Indy Japan 300. And Elio Castroneves has by the... and we have a caution and a car in the wall.
And I think that's Lloyd.
It is
yep.
too.
Boy Scouts of America car.
Wow.
Off of turn 2.
Tough day for Alex, who caused a caution when the car suddenly stopped on him and he had to be towed in, but got going again, obviously, and now has made heavy contact with the right side of the car into the turn 2 safer barrier.
It's got a fire going on the side, similar to what we saw with Simona de Silvestro.
Originally, that fire starts just when the oil tank probably broke, got onto the headers, ignited that fire, and when that flame starts, the carbon catches on fire.
Now, the big difference here is what happened with Simona when that fire started to rage was the engine was still running, and Jack had done a piece on that saying it was continuing to run and pump oil. So it continued to run and pump oil and just feed the flames. This is more typical what you would see. You kind of nonchalantly come up and spray it out, and you're good to go. But that was a unique scenario earlier in the season.
And so with regards to strategy and stops now, we're at lap 148. Everybody's going to be able to come in right now, top off, and get to the end of this thing.
Yep. They'll need a complete full load of fuel, though. They'll need to really fill it up.
A full load.
Yep.
So a key after that is take advantage of that restart. You're going to have to time that thing, pounce on everything you can to gain position on that restart.
And Robbie, the thing you're going to want to watch during these pit stops, we talked about it and we don't talk about it enough. They put marks out on the pit stall. The driver has to hit those marks exactly correctly. Not necessarily to help the tire changers, but to get that fuel to seat properly. Remember what happened to Ryan Briscoe when they weren't able to get the seat right in the redhead, and what it cost him, not Ryan Briscoe, Will Power that is, and that was where one of the momentum shifts in terms of points. So this pit stop, everybody's got to be bringing their A game.
Okay, here's the replays now of the Alex Lloyd crash.
Oh, that looks almost identical, except this time it looks like the front. Because the car did not turn at all. It almost like it let down on the front, but lost the steering.
Yeah, big spark, and just went off at that diagonal of where it was sparking into the wall, didn't it?
I've done something similar, and that hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, here are the pit stops once again.
And like Jack said, you can't place enough emphasis on the importance of just hitting your marks, carrying momentum in. Don't slow up too quick. You can't give away anything right now.
Good job. Danica has had good work on pit lane this afternoon.
Everybody's in quick. Everybody's in quick, and Helio Castroneves completes his pit stop first. He goes on the second. Briscoe came like a rocket, guys. I wasn't down by the line, but he took the inside line, and he might have snookered Dario Franchitti. What do you think?
Yeah, he did get by Franchitti.
That was some ducking and weaving there.
Yeah, no kidding.
But Briscoe was just hooking up enough to beat Franchitti to that line. Just as you're getting out of your box, he just had a little bit more forward bite with the tires spinning, the rear tire spinning, and got him there. So I'm sure we'll hear from race control right now for these two guys to swap if what we just saw was correct on our board, and I think it was. Being those two guys right there, Franchitti to Briscoe.
Okay, look at the left of your screen. That's Danica behind Milka Duno. I'm trying to maybe convince Milka to speed up just a little bit.
Yeah, but she didn't want to be on the inside of her there because Milka had to bail into her pit, so good heads up to get back to the fast lane.
Now watch this drag race here for Briscoe. He ducks to the inside and clearly gets him at the white line. That was awesome.
But guys, there may be a question mark as to whether it was entirely fair what Ryan Briscoe did. I'm here with Barry Wanzer, and Barry, you did have a chance to talk to the tech officials to get a ruling from upstairs. Have they given you an answer yet?
We haven't had an answer yet, but he's behind us on track. We'll see how the restart plays out.
Here's what happened, fellas, and Ryan Briscoe actually said it on the radio. He was coming out. He had and we've shown the steering wheel before, the pit limiter that limits the amount of speed. His thumb slipped off of it, and that was the rocket ship that I was referring to. So it'll be interesting interesting to see where he restarts.
So does that mean he was speeding as he crossed the line?
But did he get caught speeding?
Exactly.
That's like, you can speed if you don't get caught, which is a great thing.
Honest officer, I was simply, my thumb fell off the button. That's why.
Well, the cleanup continues at the scene of the crash of Alex Lloyd, who has brought out yet another caution here at Twin Ring Motegi in the Indy Japan 300.
If you know passion, you know my name. If the roar of a race car gives you goosebumps. If you believe that no one ever remembers who comes in second. If you're into checkered flags, chugging milk, burning rubber, you know my name. If you've ever pressed your nose to a chain-link fence to get a closer look, if you own a pair of earplugs, if you know Andretti, Rahal, and Unser, you know my name. You know my name because I've been here from the very beginning. As vital today as I was over 100 years ago. 100 miles to go. I am a powerhouse. I am running wide open with no finish line in sight. I am the fire that never goes out. You know my name. I am then, I am now, I am forever. I am Firestone, and I am proud.
Grams of delicious whole grain. One mighty toasted crunch. New Wheat Thins Crunch Sticks. The crunch is calling.
The 2010 Indy Japan 300 has basically given a battle between teammates Helio Castroneves and Ryan Briscoe. They've run close on the racetrack, and they have battled each other getting into and off of pit lane. But right now, Helio is the leader of the race. He's led 107 laps, and Briscoe has led 32. The only other leader was Rafa Matos, who was out front for 15 laps after a caution period in which he did not pit. There's Briscoe running third behind Dario. As we await the determination of whether he goes in front of or stays behind Franchitti.
Or whether his thumb slipping off the button is going to produce any other penalty. It's
still cleaning up the debris from the Alex Lloyd crash. There were, of course, he carries the Boy Scouts of America colors for Dale Coyne Racing, and there were more than 400 Boy Scouts from Japan that were attending this race also, and sorry to see their driver, Alex Lloyd, drop out of competition. Remember what happened to Ryan Briscoe here last year. In for a pit stop. Everything was looking very well for him, and then suddenly coming off of pit road.
And it wasn't just a pit stop. He had actually gotten down to pit road, and everything went yellow on the racetrack, so it was a gift on top of that as well. Yeah. Because he would just had everybody covered had he gotten out of the pits right there.
And that gave the points lead to Scott Dixon, and then the championship went to Dario Franchitti in the final race at Homestead, Miami.
And he had 25 points in hand coming to this race.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, by the end of the year, when you count that up, that was the game changer for Briscoe. Now, his situation at the moment, if they have data, now we know that his finger may have slipped off the button, but if they have data that he was speeding, that won't be just a change of position.
Exactly, but the fact they haven't done anything so far with regards to that, because that's a pretty simple thing to know if a guy's speeding.
Well, there's radar and there's speed traps. It depends if he got it woed down before a speed trap or before you get caught on radar. Then it's just like on the road.
I guess it's the same thing whether you beat the guy to the line. So I'm surprised we haven't heard something from race control right now. Maybe there's nothing to hear. Maybe they're saying, okay, that you're happy in the positions you are in.
Now, if we're talking about the overall season championship instead of individuality here, it seems that Briscoe's teammate would want to see him get the speeding penalty, because that would move Will up another position and would give him 3 more points in the championship.
Yeah.
And there is the breakdown of wins and championships for the 2 championship car owners in the IZOD IndyCar Series, Roger Penske and Chip Ganassi. Look at the difference in wins, but yet Chip Ganassi has had an incredible season here in 2010 with winning the Indianapolis 500 and other important races, including the Daytona 500. Still under caution here at Motegi, Helio Castroneves leading. Back in a moment.
The IZOD IndyCar Championship. It's all or nothing.
Driver who has pretty much dominated the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series has seen his points lead dwindle to right now 9 points. 9 markers separating first and second in the championship, with more than 40 laps to go here this afternoon, and of course a full race at Homestead, Miami in 2 weeks. World Extreme Cage Fighting returns live to Versus this September. The featherweight belt is on the line as the champion Jose Aldo defends his title against heavy-handed Manny the Anvil Gambirian. And one of the WEC's best rivalries reignites as Jamie Varner and Donald Cerrone go toe-to-toe. World Extreme Cage Fighting live September the 30th at 9 o'clock Eastern, only on Versus. Jackaroot on pit lane.
Well, let's check in with Clive Howell, who's calling the shots as he has for Willpower. How much is left? I mean, you know, right now you're playing it conservative. What's the game plan, Clive?
Well, we need the 6 car to take the 40-point position there in front of him, and that'll help us big time. We're just keeping our nose clean right now and trying to stay close to Dario. You know, it's a procession. Nobody can pass. You know, it's all about the restart, so we'll see what happens. Try not to get munched up by Danica here.
When you take a look at this restart, what are you going to tell your driver he needs to do when they drop the green?
Stay on the paint.
All right, guys, there you go.
Stay on the paint. Low as you can.
And obviously he's rooting for Briscoe, as we heard very clearly. Briscoe, you do everything you can to get up in that second spot and take those 40 points. When he said 40, that's what you get for finishing second.
Still some of the Holmatro safety vehicles are in the backstretch as they continue to clean the track, and I think they were looking at a portion of the safety barrier too in one area.
Those have got to be some of the best interviews we've had all year. I mean, we've gone to Clive a lot with what Will has done, but just his candor, his directness. I mean, and you can tell he's a guy that's just been around the racetrack his whole life, because there's nothing getting by him in terms of what the big picture is.
Here's a reminder of how points are awarded in the IZOD IndyCar Series. You get 50 for a win, 40 for second, 35-30, down to 25th position, which gets 10. Now, the pole position point was won by Helio Castroneves, and he has also won the bonus points for leading the most laps. Hideki Muto, one of the 2 Japanese drivers in today's race. He is currently running in the 17th position. There he is for Newman Haas Racing. Muto flexing the fingers during this caution period, and there is his father, who is seeing his son drive for the very first time in this series. Sitting by himself in the grandstand. Very incognito.
Hideki for his father to do that. I mean, you know, Hideki was very clear and very gracious of the opportunity that his father has said, hey, you go after your dream and drive a race car. One day, Hideki said, hey, I know I'm going to be back in the family fish business, but right now, his dad says,
I'm having fun.
you focus on driving the Indy cars. And it's kind of hard to believe that his dad hasn't seen him in person in the IZOD IndyCar Series.
About 37 laps to go here. Let's take a look at the race off pit lane.
Because I'm still curious about why there hasn't been a change, because if you look at the white line, we'll start to slow it down and stop it right there. To me, Briscoe beats him there. Now, whether or not he was speeding has no effect on whether you beat someone to the line. So certainly visually, it appears as though he should have that position, unless, of course, he got caught speeding, and then it would be like a drive-through. I mean,
exactly. So it doesn't nullify him staying in that same position. If he was speeding, he would have been brought in for a stop and go.
Yeah. Or, you know, they can levy whatever penalty they want, but it's not a position change. It's not like, oh, you were speeding a little bit, so you're going to lose one spot. But it
clearly looked as though he beat him to that white line. You had the two yellow cones and the white line. That is the pit out line that you're racing to. You think there's a little transponder move? Or well, I don't know. You can tell us. Well, you're thinking about something. I can see it. I'm
just wondering during this long caution if they're really poring over the data to find out
I'm wondering.
If he was speeding.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to change positions until they go back to green, so they got some wiggle room here.
Yep. Okay, well, we'll wait for a ruling. In the meantime, we'll take another break from the Indy Japan 300.
The Indy Japan 300 on Versus is brought to you by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com. And by Mazda, Zoom Zoom Forever. And by IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's.
I compete with sugarcane ethanol.
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 I compete with sugarcane ethanol. Ethanol is the fuel we use on every IZOD IndyCar race.
Cane ethanol diversifies America's fuel supply.
And it should be in your tank. It's in mine. Learn more about advanced, renewable sugarcane ethanol.
Follow your inner driver to the all-new Zoom Zoom concentrated Mazda 2 or the wicked fun Mazda 3. Either way, your inner driver gets what it's after. Experience a test drive today.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected Tony Kanaan. Select race transport. Mission finish first. Drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
At TireRack.com, we stock the largest selection of tires anywhere, all at great low prices. But we don't just ship them off to your house after you buy them. We can deliver them to one of over 5,000 of our independent recommended local installers. Because the best tires in the world can't help you if they're not properly installed on your vehicle. A national network of over 5,000 recommended installers. One more way, Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
We are in the home stretch of the 2010 IZOD IndyCar season, and coming down the stretch, Will Power is at somewhat of a disadvantage because look at the number of oval wins that Will has in his resume. 0, while Dario Franchitti has 11. Now we are getting set for the restart here at Twin Ring Motegi. The order will remain the same. Castroneves, Franchitti, Briscoe, Power, Patrick, and the green comes out, and here we go back to racing. We're on lap number 167.
And as we heard Clive House said, now is the time to pounce, and he wants Briscoe to get up there and get on Franchitti for his guy, Will Power. Take those points.
Andretti and Graham Rahal battling for position for 9th. Graham running 9th. As we look back from Takuma Sato's car, there is Briscoe trying to get second from Dario.
He had a little bit of a look as he went down into 3 and said, no, I'm not there enough. Come on back, try it again.
And boy, Dario was committed. You could just see that momentum. That's like you let your foot in. Look at Will Power.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will's going to 3rd.
Yeah, see, Briscoe won't fight him for that.
No, that was gracious.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's not team orders, I doubt. That's just the fact that Will Power got a run, and there's no way Briscoe is going to hold him up.
Look at that pretty good gap. You know, kind of gapped in as they rolled into 3 there. But it's tough to stay right on the tail of the guy in front of you when you drive down into turn 3. So you got to lay it back a little bit.
Danica Patrick having a great race. She's running in 5th. Has been in the top 5 just about all race long, trying to duplicate the feat that she pulled off here in 2008.
We heard her trying to squeeze back to Power. The sooner you can get back to full power, the best. But just have to do a little breathe back as you're coming off of 4. Now you're just flat out, 6th gear. Should see the rev lights come up on her steering wheel. There they start to just kind of come up a little bit.
Danica's coming off a 9th place finish at Kentucky 2 weeks ago. Best finish of the year was his 2nd at Texas.
Pretty good run off of 4 that time.
And we see Marco Andretti battling with Dan Weldon, and that is for position. Move Marco up into 10th and Weldon down to 11th.
And Weldon, with all the laps that we saw him do in practice, he looks so consistent and confident, just working traffic out there. I'm surprised. I would have thought he'd been more up in the top 5, especially with the 2 top 5 finishes he's had prior to here, and he's coming back.
Yeah, he's going to get that position back.
You know, but that momentum he had as well, Weldon coming into here with the 2nd and 3rd, just gives you that extra little boost to run it in harder.
And that gives Takuma Sato, look at the run that he has now closing right. That was actually not good timing. He closed at the wrong spot and had to bail out of it. Earlier, Jimmy Vasser was on the radio to Takuma, reminding him that he had more overtake assist than people around him and asked him to use it at the appropriate times.
car, sometimes that's a good reminder because you get so caught up in what you're doing, you forget that you have that, and it's just a good friendly reminder.
Muto passes E.J. Viso for 14th. The throttle forever, aren't you?
Well, and that's the big separator on this racetrack, and just what you heard there, Bob, is the guys that are off it for a lot longer. I mean, that's the difference of maybe 3 or 4 tenths around this racetrack, or setting yourself up to get a run to pass somebody getting off turn 4.
And the reason you have to stay off the throttle is as soon as you pick up the throttle again, it won't turn because that transfers weight to the back. So you need to have a car that's really stuck at the front if you're going to pick up the throttle early.
One of the drivers having a great race is Graham Rahal, who's running in 9th position. There he is just ahead of Dan Weldon. Graham is having a good race in the quick trim car for Newman Haas Racing. Graham Rahal running in 9th spot.
And as you said, Jan, he's disappointed because last year he had a great race car here, and he said, I'm coming back here with my same engineer, Martin Paré, and, you know, if we're not on the podium, I'm disappointed. But he had a moment in qualifying that says it was as big a moment as he's had in the car since he crashed in Homestead in 08.
And amazingly, he said it was 2 clicks on the weight jacker that he had pushed, and he clicked it twice, and the car got wicked loose. Yeah, that just shows how close these cars are to finding that just perfect edge.
To find that edge and be fast at this racetrack in that challenging 3 and 4, tough.
This will be our last commercial break before the checkered flag. We've 22 laps to go. Elio still leads at Motegi.
On rare occasions, opposites can coexist. Introducing the Sport Hybrid. The combination only Honda could engineer. The all-new CRZ Sport Hybrid.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the Peak backup camera system. It installs in minutes, and anyone can do it. Check the color monitor, and you'll see what you can't see. Stop accidents before they happen. Protect your family with the Peak backup camera system, and be safe out there.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
A year ago, Will Power didn't know if he would ever race again. Power rose to the challenge.
Power continues to dominate.
As a season-long points leader, he had a record 8 poles and 5 wins. Knowing the taste of victory, Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon are thirsty for more. Can Will Power prevail in the race for the championship?
Jenkins, Jan Vikas, Robbie Buell, and Jack Arute at Motegi, Twin Ring Motegi, first, second, and third as Elio continues to lead. There he is at the bottom of your screen, and here comes second and third, Dario and Ryan, and Will Power, I should say. And the point spread right now is 12. Power's lead over Dario Franchitti. Castro Neves 86 behind in the point standings. Elio has pretty much dominated this race as we continue to look at second and third. The last time he got the 2 bonus points for leading the most laps was at Chicago in 2008. That's kind of hard to believe, isn't it?
Well, nobody has to be in Will Power's ear right now telling him where Franchitti is, because he's right there in front of him. Yep. I'm sure Clive Hall is in his ear telling him something, but it's not where Franchitti is on the racetrack.
Yeah. Laps are clicking down. 14 laps to go as Elio crossed the line that time. His lead, 3.2 seconds.
He's closing in. He's got to think a lot about how aggressive does he want to be. Points-wise, you'd love to have that position, but you don't want to get it wrong.
But he wants to get as close as he can to Franchitti just to let him know he's there and say, hey, my car's faster than you, and I'm going to make a move. Or at least let Dario think that.
Yeah. I think Dario has it in hand, but it's so interesting that he said, we don't care what Power does, and we don't pay attention to him. But right now, you look in the mirrors, and you pay attention to Will Power.
very, very similar, potentially, leaving here. When we go to that final race at Homestead, it's just flat out who wins down there, potentially is our champion. I mean, almost takes us back to, a starting position after 17 races. He's closer.
Guys, you were wondering what Clive Howell may be saying to Will Power? How about nothing? They've gone radio silent for the last 5 laps.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah, well, that's an indicator of, remember, because it was earlier where Clive was calling him and saying, hey, remember who we're racing, remember who we're racing, and he got that rather colorful exchange back from Will Power. I know what I am doing. And so he's letting him do what he knows what he's doing right now.
Sometimes when you get in that cockpit, you can get pretty animated. It's a little different person sometimes with that helmet on in that cockpit versus the guy standing on the wall talking to his crew guys about the car. You transform a little bit.
Saw the graphic there. Elio's still turning laps at 197 miles an hour. And Dario also.
It's been Elio's day, that's for sure.
Yep.
He had that one wiggle that put him back. Thankfully, he caught it. And other than that, he has been dominant.
And it started with what he did in qualifying. And the confidence that he has in that race car. The guys putting the setup on the car saying, I know it can do this, and I'm going to run flat out around this racetrack. I don't care. I believe in myself, in this race car, in this team.
And he believed in himself last year, right? Up until he hit the wall.
But I think that just says so much about his willingness to be the best and to be the fastest. Because like you said, Colin, you got to be committed to run flat out into turn 3, and you better hope it works. And last year, it did.
Another indication of how strong Elio's car has been. He has 8 overtakes remaining. The most of anyone still on track. Dario has 2 remaining and Will Power 4. And then Briscoe has 7 and Danica Patrick has 4, Jack.
Maybe the best compliment that you can give to a driver comes from one that we all respect named Rick Mears. Rick has worked with Will Power, and I had breakfast with Rick this morning, and I asked him what he thought of this driver from down under, and he said, Jack, he is exactly like I was. All he wants to do is race, and he breaks each race down into not individual laps, but individual turns. He said, when I work with Will Power, I see myself in the mirror. That's a pretty strong endorsement, guys.
Sure is. And Will continues to eat into the advantage that Dario has over him as they come up on a slower car. That would be Milcaduno. Ooh.
There he's got a little bit of a run.
Oh, he tries to go inside. Not close enough. 4 laps to go for Dario, or for Elio Castroneves. We continue to watch the championship contenders running 2nd and 3rd.
And those are the opportunities that we just saw that Will Power has to be looking for, is a car that these guys will be coming up on and to set that up. But not to get so, excited, here's my opportunity, that you would challenge that corner just like, there he was maybe going to do something with Dario. No, he wasn't. That was way too high risk and percentage-wise.
Apparently we're going to tie the record for fewest number of leaders and for the fewest lead changes. So far we have had 3 of both of them, and with a little more than 2 laps to go, we would think that that is going to be the situation. It's just amazing how every year the battle for the championship goes to the final race. I mean, other series manufacture a championship at the end, but not the IZOD IndyCar Series.
It's been incredible. Absolutely.
is Elio. White flag, one more lap to go. Here comes second and third. Dario is 4.7 seconds behind. And Will Power has Dario where he wants him.
So Charles Burns could be looking for a big hug from Elio again.
That's right. Well, fuel strategy helped him win in Kentucky. Today it was sheer speed and skill as Elio Castroneves wins the Indy Japan 300 at Twin Ring Motegi. Third, Briscoe fourth. Danica Patrick comes home in fifth position. Here come the remainder of the top 10. Ray Hall moved up a position near the end of the race and went to 8th. Alex Tagliani gets a good finish in 13th. And Justin Wilson finishes in 16th position. And those were the cars that were on the lead lap at the finish. Elio's third win of 2010. He also won at Barber 2 weekends ago at Kentucky and here at Motegi, and it's also his second win at this racetrack. He also won here in 2006, and it's his 25th career open wheel win, tying him with Gordon Johncock for 14th on the all-time win list. We can expect to see some more climbing here before things are finished as he shuts the car off in the middle of the front straightaway and looks to his right, and the fence that's tempting to Spider-Man at this time.
We'll get some good fist pumps going on and you'll climb that fence.
There it is.
Do you not just love his passion for the sport, for the business? It's great.
And the Japanese fans love it. The victory was 4.5 seconds, and Elio led 153 off the 200 laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. On victory lane as we salute the winner, and Jack Arute is chasing Elio all over the place, Jack.
And he is going to get the helmet off, and Elio was willing to grab anybody. Grab me. Now he can hear you. Elio Castroneves, winner. And his face will go on the trophy. And he just gets told by his team. Getting the congratulations.
You are the man! You are the man, man! Good job, well done. Nice try, buddy. Baby. Please don't clean it. Don't clean it.
Don't clean it, he says. Hey, he told the crew they did what they had to do. You did what you had to do.
That's what it's all about. Team Penske, it's about execution. They gave me a fantastic car, and man, it was awesome. It was like 2006. The car was on rails, and every time I wanted to go for it, the car was responding. So, great job for the guys in the shop. They did a hell of a job to put a great package like this, and they paid off. So, thank you, Team Penske over there in Charlotte. Well done, and man, I'm as happy as can be, Jack, my man.
You want to go climb the fence again?
No, I'm getting too old for this.
Guys,
it's enough, man.
And there is Roger Penske and Tim Cindric as they go to congratulate their driver, Elio Castroneves, winning his second race in a row in the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series. Won 2 weeks ago on the mile-and-a-half at Kentucky and wins here on the mile-and-a-half at Twin Ring Motegi. There's Will Power. He finished in third position and will have a 12-point advantage going to the final event of the year at Homestead Miami Speedway. Elio Castroneves climbs the fence and wins in Japan. Castroneves has climbed the fence. He's given Jack Arute our Izod Victory Lane interview, and now he's driving his car around the racetrack, headed to the real Victory Lane. The points after 16 of 17 races, Dario Franchitti will have a 12-point disadvantage going to the final race at Homestead, Miami. Elio Castroneves moved up a position in the points with his victory today. Scott Dixon drops back to 4th. Briscoe, Hunter Ray, and Tony Kanaan stay the same. Dan Weldon gained a position, moving to 8th in the point standings, and actually is tied with Marco Andretti, and Justin Wilson is 10th in the points after the next to the last race of the year. Jack Arute.
Well, all of a sudden, Will Power goes to the final race, and you got a 12-point margin. How was the drive today?
Yeah, I think it was all done in the pits. My boys got me positioned every time. They did a fantastic job. Yeah, it was looking a little bit hairy there for a while. I had a yellow call on I don't know what lap it was, and I backed off thinking it was yellow, and went way back. But full credit to the team. They did everything today. I mean, it was a tough day.
Pretty good oval finish for you.
Yep, my first podium. Very happy to get the Verizon Cup in the top 3 for the first time ever, and we're knocking on that door, man. I mean, we're going to get there.
Let me ask you a very quick question. It's a long ride home. How much are you going to really sleep, knowing that you're going to Homestead?
Oh, man, once again, days like today, you get heaps of experience, just hanging in there. And there goes Elio, man. He got the win. That was awesome. Very good job. He is unstoppable.
Well, go congratulate him.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
All right. We got to get the other guy that finished. He saw you saw him. It's kind of like watching Pac-Man right now going to the final race of the season. You got 12 you got to find, friend.
Yeah, we were looking good there before that last pit stop. Will was back there, but his guys did a hell of a job and got him back up in the fight. But Elio was in a class of his own today. As far as speed, the boys at Team Target, and we made a small mistake on the setup probably, but we did our absolute best today, and we caught some more points, but we've got to go after them next week again.
When you go into a race like this, Dario, and you go to the final race, now you've locked up the A.J. Foyt Oval Track Trophy, but with all intents and purposes, do you think about that, or are you guys already on the flight home talking about what you think you're going to have to do at Homestead?
I was thinking about Homestead driving in the pits here.
Really?
Yeah, we're, you just keep going, and we're going testing there a week tomorrow. So we'll see what the track conditions are like now, see what we've got to do, and then we'll show up there a week on Saturday, and we'll give it hell.
Hey, yeah, but you got the Foyt Trophy to take down there now.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and that's great, and the boys at Team Target just work very, very hard all the time. We haven't had such a good time on the road courses this year, but on the ovals, really good, and we're all ready, man. We're all ready for next week.
See you in the finale. Bring blue steel.
We'll see you, brother.
And the final margin of victory in the A.J. Foyt Oval Championship battle was 16. Elio Castroneves wins today, but finishes second in the A.J. Foyt Trophy standings. Scott Dixon third, Kanaan fourth, and Briscoe in 5th position. So Will Power was the winner of the Mario Andretti Trophy for road and street courses, and Dario is the Oval champion for 2010. But the overall champion is yet to be decided, and that will come 2 weeks at Homestead Miami Speedway. Elio wins here at Twin Ring Motegi. Back with more in a moment. Great aerial shot of Twin Ring Motegi, and the race run today by Elio Castroneves. Will Power's crew, however, they were the Firestone pit performers of the race here today, spending a total time of 2 minutes, 5 seconds, .892. So congratulations to that team, and Jack Arute is standing by with the driver who finished in 5th position in today's race.
And I am in deep trouble. You see, earlier this week, I told Danica Patrick I had a dream on the flight over here that she was going to go to Victory Lane. And needless to say, when I walked up, you said to me,
I'm sorry I didn't make your dreams come true. Actually, all weekend I've been saying I want to make your wildest dreams come true.
we had a good day on the GoDaddy crew today. We did. It was, my engineer made really good decisions with the car for race day. The starts and restarts were good. I felt strong there, and I was able to push. And, the car rotated, which is really important here. So, getting around 3 and 4 on the starts, it was, I was able to keep my foot in it without washing out, and a lot of other people washed out. So I was able to get good runs, and then I felt like the gears were right. I complained about the gears not being right in qualifying, but now they're right for the race, which is the most important part. And I had good runs around 1 and 2. So, it was, overall, it was a pretty good day. The problem was the last 2 stops. I was behind, I was 4th, and there was the 3 lead cars and then a lap car, and then me. And I was going to go around him, and they were like, you can't stay behind him. And they're like, he's not going to come in anyway. And then he came in, and he left a gap in front of him.
And then that pit stop with Milka, we weren't quite sure what was going to happen there.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, and I'm not going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she's going to do the right thing. So I bet, I was inside of her, and I knew her pit box would be early, so I just let off and tucked in behind her. But, it's really unfortunate when you pit with cars like that because you're not able to race the cars that you're racing. So, that was another stop then that I wasn't able to race for the positions in front of me, and then Will got me. So, that's an awfully fast pit stop for Will, considering he was behind me. In fact, I think it was Dixon and Kanan and then Will, if I'm remembering correctly. I might be wrong, but that means he made up a heck of a lot of ground, and it served him right because he finished up front. So overall, it was a good day. At the beginning of at the end of the day yesterday, I said I'd be really thrilled with the top 5, and I don't know if I'm thrilled because I always think what could be more, but I'm pleased with it, and it was nice to have a nice day.
It's good to see a smile on your face, and you know what? I want to have a little fun with you, okay? So, I didn't make your dreams come true. Don't blame me.
Jack, I couldn't blame you if I had to.
All right, I guess I get a free ride. Thanks, guys.
Danica Patrick finishes in 5th position today. Had a very, very good race here at Motegi.
Yeah, Jack, we won't blame you from the booth either. Don't worry. We won't blame you.
All right, there is Victory Lane. The podium consisting of Castro Neves, the winner, Franchitti second, Will Power third. Back to wrap it up in a moment. Huge trophy being lifted to Elio in Victory Lane. Man, that's a big trophy. It takes 5 people to lift it up there. Anyway, he wins, and he wins back-to-back. The last time he won back-to-back was at St. Pete and then Motegi in 2006. Will Power finishes 3rd and gets his best oval track finish in his career. Dan Weldon, 2-time winner here, came home in 10th position. And now 11 through 20, Takuma Sato, one of the home country favorites, finishes in 12th position, and Muto was 14th. And finally, Mario Moraes was airlifted to a local hospital for just a precaution because of back pain after his crash in turn number 2. Okay, Jack, final thoughts from Motegi.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Dario Franchitti would win the championship back-to-back, but I am going to pick the fact that destiny may be smiling on the guy from down under. Will Power is going to get married in Hawaii at the end of the year. He is building a new home in Charlotte, North Carolina. He is chasing for his first ever championship in the IZOD IndyCar Series. And it was only 2 years ago that Will Power stood at this point in his career and thought he was out of business. I do believe in destiny, and I believe that Will Power will win this championship. Fellas?
Jack, thanks for your help down there on pit lane. Jan Bikas, who's going to win this championship?
Well, I like Jack's enthusiasm, and I'm with him on completing the story of coming back from a horrible injury for Power, but I just like Dario's momentum.
Really? Wow, that catches me by surprise. How about you, Robbie?
Well, that's convenient that you went that direction. Okay? Because I'm all about William Power.
Yeah.
You bet.
Well, I'm going to have to go with Will too. I mean, I think he probably will do at Homestead basically what he did today, and that is not necessarily run up front. Although I don't think anybody could have beat Elio today, but I think he will be in a position to win the championship. Maybe by not a whole lot, but I think he's going to be our champion for 2010. Coming up next, Whacked Out Sports. Join us in 2 weeks for our series finale, Saturday, October 2nd at 6 o'clock Eastern for the Cafés do Brasil Indy 300. IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. For more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, log on to Versus.com. Congratulations to Elio Castroneves, who wins here. Jan Hikas, Robbie Buell, Jack Arute. I'm Bob Jenkins. See you in 2 weeks in Miami.